back, everybody. Sorry for the sound not being on there. I just had to reload my private stream, which I'm streaming from my computer, and basically for some reason the sound went off as I reloaded it, so I don't know why. I actually never turned it off at any point, but nonetheless, well, here we are on lap 4 of this tier 2 race here for round 2 of the season here at Zolder, and we've got Kev Sim, Titan Gusto, Andrew and Robe battling over the lead here. 4 cars in a bit of a train. It was Kev Sim who managed to get the jump on Titan Guto off of the line, got himself into the lead of the race, and since then Titan Guto hasn't been able to get back ahead of him. It's been Kev Sim who, points in the first couple of laps of this race, has actually pulled away from Titan Guto, but right now Titan Guto is now putting the pressure back on him again. We've seen a few incidents down the pack. We've seen a couple of drivers coming into the pits early. Gelram came in from P5, had a bit of damage on the front end of the car, but seemed to not be in too bad of a position, obviously being in a decent place in the actual race classification, and maybe might be a dark horse as we get later on in this race. We'll be driving around in clean air for most of the race in the position he's currently in, but we go back to the battle for the lead here because we've got Kev Sim, Titan Guto separated by 0.4 of a second right now as they're coming up towards the line. Here we go to start lap 5 of the race. We've got Andrew and Robe still in hot pursuit right now, still there in case these two trip over each other, and right now it's less than 0.2 of a second separating the top 2 here in this race. The top 4 have broken away well and truly from Luke Van der Streets, who's running in P5. Then you've got Henry in 6th ahead of Exeron, running in P7 ahead of Tumbaz, followed by China Ski, and there's Nath J. Fletcher who's side by side here with Jill Silverin coming into turn 1. Jill Silverin looks down the inside. Oh, as Nath tries to go for the cutback and hits him in the rear, and that is Jill Silverin straight on onto the gravel there. Nath a little bit naughty, I've got to say, and he might get overtaken here by Rusty Man, who's looking on the back of him here coming through turn 3. Up the inside goes Rusty Man, and he's going to do Nathan here into turn 4, or is he? Nath's going to hold it around the outside. Does he have the grip to do so? Yes, he does. Nath there managing to hold on to P10 there, but Jill Silverin is not going to be happy with that because he got walloped up the rear there by Nath as he was looked to have that move done, and Nath was trying to go for the cutback, but ended up hitting him in the rear, and if Jill Silverin puts in an inquiry on that one, I'd have to say that the blame's going to go on Nath for that. But Kev Sim, Titan Guto, Andrew and Robe still separated, these 4, by just over a second at the moment, so it's oh so close at the front. Oh, what's happened here to Henry? Henry's made a mistake, and that will be Exeron moving up into P6. Routine stuff there from him, and Henry's got huge damage, and he's got to watch out. Here comes Tumbaz Chinaski in the background as well, who's going to both get ahead of him. So Henry here really struggling, as in the background there you've got the train of cars there. Nath, Rusty Man, Jill Silverin, Day also in the mix as well as GPL and Diego, who's on the back of that train. Whereas there's a Mafford there ahead of Lexi Mate as well, but we're going to just flick back to the leaders here because the spectator options are really poor tonight, and yeah, it's just not picking people out at all. It's taking about, I'd say about 5 or 6 seconds for the cameras to change at points here, but Henry is coming into the pits nonetheless at the end of lap 5, and we go back to the leaders here with Kev Sim, Titan Guto, Andrew still very close together, 6/10 separating the top 3, but Robe has just made a little mistake here, which has dropped him off for this lead battle. So I don't know what happened there to Robe, but he's clearly had a bit of a mistake coming through the first sector here. But Kev Sim still got heavy pressure here from Titan Guto and Andrew. Andrew's also got the fastest lap of the race so far, so looks like he's really trying to make hay in the first part of this race. Just going to double check my audio. I'm sure it's working now. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is at this point because I did turn it back on. Yeah, the audio is all fine now, but just a bit frustrating really that it wasn't working for the first part of the race. But Kev Sim still your race leader ahead of Titan Guto as they're coming down towards the final chicane. You can see there Titan Guto trying to duck out of the slipstream there, as Andrew's also looking interested on the back of them, but for the time being Kev Sim's just doing what he needs to do, and Titan Guto can't really find a gap. He hasn't got the enough pace over him to be able to go for a move. The only real thing that he can hope for is that he can force Kev Sim into a mistake if he continues to keep this up. But I'll tell you what, whilst these 3 are battling, Robe is actually closing in on them, because Robe was nearly 3 seconds behind them after his mistake. He is now under 2 seconds off of this lead battle, so whilst these 3 continue to put each other under pressure, it's allowing Robe to get closer. But here we go, Titan Guto making a move for the lead. Kev Sim is trying to keep it around the outside. Can Kev Sim keep himself there? Titan Guto, I tell you what, he did manage to get a bit of himself alongside him there, but Kev Sim with the better run down towards the first chicane should have this one back again, and Andrew there once again looking interested contested in the background, but Kev Sim survives just about. Titan Guto didn't get a great run out of the first chicane. That might allow Andrew a look here as they come down towards the second chicane, but I think Titan's just far enough ahead to hold on into the second chicane, and Andrew there not able to capitalise on that one as Titan just goes a little almost straight on there with the first part of the second chicane, but keeping it going there. But Kev Sim still leading this race. Andrew is still looking interested here on the back of these two right now, but I tell you what, Robe's been brought back into this battle here. He is now only about a second and a half off of the lead, so he's well and truly been gifted another opportunity here in this battle. There's Luke Van der Streets running in P5. He's a little way clear of Exa on there in P6. You've got Tumbaz there, who's running just ahead of China Ski, followed by Nath J. Fletcher, who's a long way behind there in 9th place. He's about a second clear of Rusty Man at this point. You've got Jules Silver in there in 11th place. He's a few seconds clear of Amafford, who's driving a very solid debut here on ACC in the GT3 class. You've got GPL there in 13th place, who's just behind Amafford at the moment. A Coding Monkey there running in 14th. He's just ahead of Diego in P15, followed by Lexi Mate, who's well clear of DA666 at the moment. Drew the Great running in P18, the lowest runner of the drivers who are still yet to pit in this race. You've got Guido, Chris, Gelram, Caprigia, Sparky Franchise and Henry have all been in, but Henry has picked himself up a stop-go penalty here. Well, I assume for speeding in the pits, because that's what you get stop-go penalty for. So he's obviously, we saw him with that big damage earlier on, he was coming in to get it fixed. He's gone and got himself a stop-go penalty whilst he was getting that damage fixed. Doesn't look like he's coming in to get it fixed, or get rather to serve that stop-go penalty just yet though. And he's staying out for the time being, as we see Day 666 into the pits here at the end of lap 7. But we go back to the battle for the lead, because it's still Kev Sim, Titan and Andrew, with Robe hot on their heels as well. But Titan Guto here looking up the inside there, but Kev Sim's covering the inside line off through every corner at the moment, just not allowing any gaps to form, doing exactly what he needs to do in the early stages of this race. Currently got 13 of you watching the stream. Guys, I want to apologise for the technical difficulties we had earlier on. Firstly, with the lagging on the stream, and then after that we had some audio issues, but we've got on top of those now, thank goodness, and we're here to show the tier 2 round 2 of the season here for season 3 in all of its glory. And Kev Sim still your race leader, just about ahead of Titan Guto. Andrew having a little look to the inside on Titan Guto into turn 1, but nothing doing. China Ski still pressuring the back of Tumbaz here for 6th place. You've got Nath, who's got Rusty Man really close on him as they're coming into the final chicane at the moment, but Rusty Man not close enough to force him into a mistake just at the moment. Diego's currently running in P15 just behind the Coding Monkey, as those two continue to battle it out. But really it's the battle for the lead which we want to be watching here, because these guys are currently really putting on a great show. Robe's got a bit of a run here on Andrew actually, coming down towards the first chicane, but Andrew's also got a run on Titan Guto. Titan there defends it nicely to the inside there, not allowing the gaps to form. Kev's just managed to gap these guys by about a second here whilst they're watching each other though, and Andrew a little bit closer into the second chicane, still not close enough, but Kev Sim at the moment is trying to make the most of these guys battling behind him to try and put a bit of a gap, but Titan's just gained on him a little bit through the second chicane there. So all in all, it looks like it's ebbing and flowing here between Kev and Titan, with these two are going to be still continue to be interested the longer that this battle goes on. But Titan Guto, we said before, was looking extremely quick in the qualifying session, had pole by over 0.8 of a second, but Kev Sim managed to pull off a fantastic move around the outside of turn 1, which we unfortunately, I was commentating at the time, and if anybody was watching my Twitch stream, which I don't think you are because I don't actually post the link anywhere, but if anybody was watching my Twitch stream, people will know I was commentating, I was actually covering the action, but it wasn't getting picked up on my YouTube stream because for some reason on my Twitch stream the sound had been turned off on my computer for my Twitch stream, so essentially it's just like nothing was heard. So basically it just looks like it was just a load of cars with no sound. So those of you who were watching would have seen it, but you would have heard no narration of the fantastic overtake by Kev Sim on Titan coming in out of turn 1 into turn 2 on lap 1. But nonetheless, we come down towards the second chicane here on lap 10 of the race, and it's still Kev Sim who has a lead here of a reasonable amount, nearly 0.7 of a second. We see them all running over that curve a little bit. Always Andrew's made a bit of a mistake there coming out the first chicane. Robe's going to be having a look here coming into the second chicane. It's side by side, and like Robe has the inside. Andrew goes late on the brakes and manages to keep it around the outside, cuts the second apex a little bit there, but manages to hold on to 3rd place, and Robe's going to have to just go again and wait for his opportunity here. But those two have just lost a bit of time to the top two here whilst they were battling through that second chicane. And now you can see Titan is now he's got a little bit of respite now as Titan Guto, because he knows that he just needs to focus on who's in front of him here in the shape of Kevsim. He hasn't got any pressure from behind him anymore, so now maybe this next couple of laps here he can just really get his head down and fully focus on making Kevsim make a mistake, or potentially just lining himself up for a bit of a lunge. Whatever the case, whatever he's planning, you know, we're going to find out over the next couple of laps. But Titan Guto's now got a golden opportunity here, as Andrew's still got Robe on the back of him coming into turn one, but Robe not close enough there to make a move. Luke Van der Street still running in P5. Tumbaz and Chinaski still battling over 6th and 7th places right now, as they're coming out of the last corner about to complete their 10th laps of the race. You've got Rusty Man on the back of Nath as these two coming out of the final chicane. Can Rusty Man get a good run here? It looks like he's a little bit closer this time around as they come over the line to start lap 11. Just a little bit too far back coming into turn 1. Diego's still pressuring the back of Afford, but hasn't been able to get through. But these two have also got GPL and a Coding Monkey closing up onto the back of them as well. So this could quickly become a four-way battle here for 12th place, which Afford currently heads that little scrap there between these four drivers. So battles everywhere you look right now in the early stages of this Tier 2 race for round 2 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PlayStation 5. Currently Afford still keeping these guys at bay. Oh, Afford's gone wide onto the gravel there. Does he manage to keep the momentum going? I think he has done, you know. But you see the number 15 car of Diego making the getting the drag there on GPL, coming down towards the first chicane. And I'll tell you what, that's a good opportunistic move there from Diego. He gets himself up into 13th place with GPL's little mistake. And a Coding Monkey couldn't follow him through there, so Coding Monkey's still running in P15 at the moment. But Afford there, I think, triggered that mistake there. Oh no, as Diego loses it coming through the chicane. Did he get a tap there? I think he must have done. He must have got a tap there from GPL. A Coding Monkey moves through, and what's going on here? Look at this. There's a Bentley now involved. Leximate, an unfortunate victim there, with those two continuing their incident, and Diego there losing a load of time and a couple of places in the in that exchange there. Leximate was an unfortunate bystander, but he ended up getting dragged into that one. Coding Monkey continuing on his way. Afford is now well ahead of these guys in 12th place and looking quite comfortable here, but an unfortunate and unnecessary incident there, which was triggered really by it looked like GPL just went late on the brakes trying to come back at Diego, tagged him around, and unfortunately for those two, they're now well off of that battle. As we see Diego into the pits here at the end of lap 11, so he's making his mandatory pit stop just before the a little way before the halfway point, so he's you know, probably on a full tank, one would imagine. Oh, as we go back to the battle for the lead here, and it's still Andrew trying to keep Robe at bay, but Andrew and Robe predictably have got onto the back of these guys. And I'll tell you what, Titan Guto is in the lead of the race. So Titan has made the move, and I'm not sure where he's done it, but he's done it somewhere. And Titan Guto now ahead of Kevsim. Now can he show the pace that we saw in the qualifying session? Titan Guto hits the front. Kevsim is now going to watch out because he's got Andrew and Robe on the back of him here as they come over the line. So it's complete lap 12 of the race. But you see Andrew having a little look to the inside on Kevsim. Too far back just at the moment. He's still waiting in the wings at this point. Robe there waiting to pounce as well. But Titan Guto has obviously made the move in the last couple of laps whilst we were watching the mid-pack battle going on between Afford, Coding Monkey, GPL, and obviously Diego as well. But yeah, this battle for second place is still continuing on, but Titan Guto is now starting to just crank up the tempo a little bit and is pulling away from these three behind him, as Andrew's looking to the outside here on Kevsim, but he can't get the move done there coming through the first chicane, and Kevsim for the time being holding on there. But Kevsim doesn't seem to have the pace of Titan Guto. Now that Titan is in the lead of the race, he does seem to be just getting the hammer down a little bit, as Diego there is now on his way out of the pits. He's now done his mandatory pit stop and can continue on his way. Rusty Man is still on the back of Nate J. Fletcher's, as these guys have got actually some cars who are a lap down just behind them. Gelram is right on them as well. and that's number 23, that's Henry, oh sorry, position number 23 Henry on the back of them as well. So this is a battle currently for 9th and 10th places, which Joram and Henry are both trying to get involved. Obviously Joram's still in this race, very much so, because he's already been to make his mandatory pit stop, so he's, well, I mean he's a lap down, so it's going to be a difficult race for him. But Rusty Man looking at the inside of Nath, but he still can't make the move. He's just looking, he's trying to force him into a mistake if he can, but Nath is going to have the outside here, go around this corner. Somebody's disconnected from the race, and I'm not sure who it is, but I just saw somebody disappear. Everybody's moved up a position, so I'm just going to try and work out who it is by looking back at the stream here. So we're missing, who are we missing? Basically I just need to work out who we're missing here. Oh, we're missing Andrew. Andrew is disconnected from the race, and that is gutting there for him. Andrew there out of the race, a disconnection I would imagine here on lap 14. He was in the battle for second place with Kevsim and Robe, but it looks like a disconnection has thwarted his opportunity here. If he gets himself back in the session, he'll be able to start on the lap that he was on. So Andrew, if you're listening to the stream, mate, definitely get yourself back in, because you'll be able to pick up almost where you left off, albeit obviously whatever distance these guys cover, that's how far you'll be behind them. But nonetheless, mate, honestly I recommend getting yourself back in, score some points. You never know what could happen. But GPL and Lexi, mate, both in the pits here at the end of their 13th laps of the race. Titan Guto is just coming around to complete lap 14 in a moment. He's now got 2.6 seconds out the front over Kevsim, who's managed to get Robe as well. But Kevsim was coming under pressure from Andrew before. Now that Andrew's disconnected, it looks like Kevsim is now starting to pick up the pace a little bit, but Titan Guto was still 2/10 quicker than him coming through that final sector there. So Guto looking to be the man in control of this race, as we expected in the qualifying session when he was 8/10 clear of Kevsim. But then Kevsim managed to pull off a great move coming into turn 2 to take the lead of the race, and since then he led the race for a few laps, and then obviously Titan Guto was eventually able to get ahead of him, and Titan Guto now with a commanding lead here in this race, as the battle for P8 continues to rage on here between Rusty Man and Nath J. Fletch. Nath just got a bit of a shaky run there coming out of the last corner, but Rusty Man has managed to get ahead of Nath up into 8th place, and Nath has got big damage on the front of the car as well, so I don't know what's happened. He's clearly made a mistake of some sort. He's got the lap car of Gelram right behind him, and that's Henry just behind them as well, so you've got 2 lap cars in the mix here. But Rusty Man and Nath still battling over 8th and 9th. Can Nath get back on him with that damage, or is Rusty Man just going to pull away from Nath at this point? Car number 107 has got done for speeding in the pit lane. That is Lexi, mate, so that is a stop-go penalty there for Lexi, mate, and he's going to have to come back in at some point over the next 3 laps to do that, which is going to be frustrating for him. Kev Sim has currently got 3/10 back to Lucas Robe, who's still on the back of him, running over second and third places. But I think Kev Sim might have made a mistake in the last couple of laps, because he was at one point pulling away from Robe. Now that gap is next to nothing. Gap between Exeron and Tumbaz is going up a little bit. It's now over a second, so Exeron looking a bit more comfortable there in that P6 right now. I clicked on Exeron about 4 or 5 seconds ago, and there we go. We finally now panned to him. So Exeron there is just over a second clear of Tumbaz. Nate is still sticking to the back of Rusty Man despite the damage on the car, but looks to be not really able to do much with him. Coding Monkey has got ahead of M. Afford up into 11th place. So Coding Monkey's moved up a position there. Obviously got set back a little bit, getting dragged into the incident between Diego and GPL, who both suffered damage for their troubles. But Coding Monkey is now ahead of M. Afford nonetheless, and M. Afford's still doing a good job running in P12. It's been a solid debut so far from him. What can he do by the time he gets into this race? Obviously we'll have to keep an eye and see how that goes, but the battle for second place between Kev Sim and Robe still rages on here, 3/10 of a second apart, and Robe is piling the pressure on Kev Sim here, coming in towards the sort of penultimate corner, if you like. I mean, it's the corner before the chicane, but at the moment Kev Sim's just doing what he needs to do to hold on ahead of Robe. Robe's now looking to the outside into the final chicane. Is he going to look to send one into the final chicane? No, he's too far back just at the moment. As I'm looking down the timing board and I'm seeing that M. Afford is actually closer to a Coding Monkey than he was before, so that gap is not really going up. It's these two are still continuing on the same page at the moment. But Robe just 0.2 of a second behind Kevsim at this point as they're coming into turn 2 here on lap 17 of the race. Gap up to nearly 2 seconds between Exeron and Tumbas. Oh, as Kevsim's got a bit of a poor run in towards turn 4. Side by side here, Robe's going to have the inside line, and I think he's done that one, but Kevsim, can he get a better run coming down towards the first chicane? Robe's got it done for the time being, but Kevsim's trying to come back at him after a little feint to the inside, but he's too far back, and Robe has that move done there up into second place, and Kevsim's now got to go again and try and regroup here. These guys are 6 seconds behind Titan Guto. Has Robe got the pace to match him and try and go after him? Or is Kevsim going to come back at him here? These guys 6 seconds clear of Luke van der Street's running in 4th place, but these two looking like they've got the podium spots wrapped up between them right now, unless they trip over each other and screw each other's races both. But we've got Nath J Fletcher, Coding Monkey and M Afford all in the pits here at the end of lap 16, and Drew the Great also came in on the previous lap, so he's now done his mandatory pit stop as well. Here he comes, so he's now just coming out onto the track as we speak. Andrew also in the pits, so he's got himself back in the session as Andrew after his disconnection. He was running in 3rd place in this race. How gutting for him to have disconnected whilst running in such a high up position, but hopefully he can get himself back out on track and complete enough laps in this race to score some points, because you never know what can happen over the course of an 8-round championship. It's still a long way to go for sure, but we've currently got Nath J Fletcher, Cody Monkey and M Afford in the pits here at the end of their 16th lap. So you've got Titan Guto just starting his 18th lap at the moment, and he's got a 6-second lead right now over Robe, but Robe has actually gained a little bit on Titan Guto since getting ahead of Kevsim. So Robe, we've got to keep an eye on him, because maybe his race pace is a little bit better than what we saw in the qualifying session. Nonetheless, he's keeping Titan Guto honest at this point, but we don't know what the situation is with his strategy. He could have half tanked it, he might have full tanked it, Titan Guto could have half tanked it. We just don't know what the situation is with the fuel tanks and the tyres. I mean, if people are half tanking it, they're probably changing tyres as well. That's the generally accepted fact here on ACC. So we're just going to have to wait and see what these guys have done in terms of their race strategies. But at the moment, Titan Guto looking pretty good. Robe's closing the gap to him at the moment though. I tell you what, he's bringing it down quite a bit. He's gaining about 0.3 a sector, 2-3 a sector. So yeah, he's definitely making inroads at this point. Plenty of comments coming in on the streamers here, guys. Absolutely loving it right now. If any of you guys are noticing a few old names here, if any of you guys are new to the PS5 and you're interested in getting back involved in the leagues, I'd definitely recommend signing up. You can do so by joining our Discord server. You can join our Discord server through www.motiveracing.com. If you're already on the Discord as well, then you can click the channel at the top of the Discord which says join the leagues, and that way you can actually get involved in the leagues that we've got here, and you can join our tier 2. We're hoping to promote some of the tier 1 drivers into tier 2, because sorry, we're other way around. We're hoping to promote some of the tier 2 drivers into tier 1, and so obviously with that being done, that would leave spaces in tier 2, so we are looking to try and fill those spaces and get some new drivers into tier 2 as well. But I'm definitely looking at this man here as a potential shoe-in for tier 1. I know it's early in the season, but we have got a couple of dropouts in tier 1, so I'm definitely looking at you, Titan Guto. I'll be offering a spot to him after this race as it stands, as long as he doesn't mess up here. I'll definitely be looking to try and get him into tier 1 here tonight, maybe even. But we've got Robe running in 2nd place. He's actually bringing the gap down. I tell you what, the gap is under 5 seconds now between Titan Guto and Robe. Robe has significantly gapped Kevsim since getting ahead of him, so Robe at the moment is absolutely flying. And I tell you what, if he hadn't have been stuck behind Kevsim and Andrew in the early stages, maybe we could have been seeing a very different race from him. But yeah, he's really on one right now. Titan Guto still has the fastest lap of the race as it stands, but Robe currently doing a really solid job, as Titan Guto is in the pits here at the end of lap 19, so that will give the lead to Robe temporarily. He's 4 seconds clear of 2nd place man Kevsim. Titan Guto there into the pits. You've got Luke van der Street, who now moves through into 3rd place in this race at the moment. Chinesky also coming in at the end of lap 19, so he's making his pit stop. Tumbas is coming in towards the final chicane in just a moment. Is Tumbaz also going to come in? No, Tumbaz is staying out for the time being. Jill Silverin is a little way behind, just coming on the exit of the penultimate corner. So let's see what Jill Silverin does. He is quite some way ahead of Exeron, who appears to be coming out of the pits. So Exeron's not actually in 8th place anymore, but Jill Silverin coming out of the last corner and staying out for the time being. But yeah, currently not lap 20 of this race here for the Tier 2 Zero Motive. Oh, we've got side by side in the foreground there. A couple of drivers there running very close. That was Drew the Great there, who was just sneaking around the outside of Sparky Franchise. So Drew the Great up into 18th place with a good move there, coming through the second to last corner. China Ski, obviously we saw him coming into the pits. He's still in the box at the moment. Other than that, Tumbaz is looking like he's just been overtaken there by Titan Guto. So Titan Guto, who's already been into the pits, he is the net race leader. He's got ahead of Tumbaz. Tumbaz is still running just behind, I think, another back marker. I think that's Gelram who's just in front of him. So Gelram there running just in front of Tumbaz, but obviously Gelram a lap down on Tumbaz at this point, having been into the pits. So representative there, you can see that Titan Guto just over a lap ahead of Gelram on the track. Both of those have pitted, so Gelram's early pit stop really has cost him. We saw he had big damage on the front of the car, and that must have been a bit of extra time in the box to get repaired. But yeah, that has really cost him here in this race so far. Gap between Robe and Kevsim currently staying at 4 seconds. Robe has had to just deal with some traffic there, I think, by the looks of it, as he's just coming through the first chicane, or sorry, the second chicane, should I say. But yeah, in fact, he hasn't been able to negotiate the traffic yet. He's still being held up by it. So that's Nath J. Fletcher, who's just in front of him, and Nath is not showing any signs of being willing to move over at this point. As in the foreground, you've also got Drew the Great and Sparky Franchise. So Nath is in a battle here for 18th place and doesn't want to be surrendering to the leader anytime soon. And yeah, he's just going to have to wait a little bit longer here. But Titan Guto, your net race leader, and it's looking more and more likely that he's going to come out ahead of Robe, because Robe being held up by those back markers there. Robe is now into the pits here at the end of lap 21. But he was getting held up no end there by the back markers who were in front of him. Kev Sim now your race leader, obviously at the moment, but that will all change once all the pit stops are said and done. As Luke van der Streets moves up into second place for the time being. Titan Guto has been into the pits already. He's just coming down towards the final chicane at the moment, but he will come out probably quite comfortably here ahead of Robe, as Robe is still in the box at the moment. Here's Titan Guto just coming out to the start finish straight, and Robe still has not moved, so Titan Guto well ahead of Robe here as he starts his 22nd lap of the race. But yeah, Robe definitely not moving anytime soon by the looks of it, and looking to be undergoing some kind of repairs, or maybe he did half tank it, so he's changing fuel and tyres, or rather adding fuel and changing tyres. But yeah, it's not gone fantastically well for him. Kev Sim still leads the race by 8 seconds ahead of Luke van der Streets. Tumbaz into the pits as well as Robe's on that particular lap, so he's just stopping into his box at the moment. Robe's now coming to the end of the pit lane and is out onto the track once again. But Titan Guto has already completed the first sector, so he is miles ahead of Robe at this point. And yeah, Robe is lost out in the pits, obviously with putting some fuel in and changing tyres, but he will have a quicker car in the final stint. But is that going to be of any solace to him? Is that going to be any consolation by the time we get to the checkered flag? We'll have to wait and see. Robe is going to be able to set some quick laps from here to the end of the race, but will it benefit in any way? Time will tell us the answer to that one. But Kev Sim still your race leader at the moment, still yet to pit. Luke van der Streets also yet to pit in second place. Jill Silverin, the only other driver to still not pit in this race. Everybody else has already been in for their mandatory pit stop. As somebody's retired there, somebody was parked by the side of the road. Was that Andrew? No, who was it? Nobody's showing up as in the pits, so that could have just been a bit of lag there potentially. No, it wasn't. It was Henry. So Henry there was frozen by the side of the track. Obviously had pulled over to retire the car. He's now sat in the box, sat in 21st place right now. That could change because he's got cars behind him who are out on track at the moment. So Lexi Mate will come around to move into 21st place, I'm sure, in a moment. Andrew's also behind Henry on the classification, so there we go. Lexi Mate up into 21st place, but Henry there's going to lose places in the pits. That's not going to have been what he needed at all here in this one. You see Kev Sim here coming into the pits at the end of lap 23, so he's making his pit stop. Luke van der Streek's also doing the same. Does Jill Silverine pull the trigger this time around? Jill Silverine a long way behind, to be fair. We won't find out the answer to that one for a little while yet, but Kev Sim into the pits. There's Luke van der Streek as well. And Titan Guto just coming down towards the final chicane at the moment. And Titan Guto will inherit, or rather will regain the race lead, which he had in the early stages before the pit window, or before people started coming into the pits, because there is no official pit window. But Kev Sim there is just coming off the jacks, I think now. Yes, he is. So he's now on his way. Luke van der Streek still sat in the box, but Titan Guto coming into turn 2. And there is Kev Sim just coming out of the pit lane. So the gap between Titan Guto and Kev Sim, I reckon it's about 15 seconds, maybe a little bit less, but Titan Guto with a comfortable advantage here in this race. Neither of those two putting any tyres or fuel in, so it looks to me like both of those two full tanked it and are good to go to the end. One thing I'm interested in seeing is whether Robe can catch Kev Sim maybe for second place, or Luke van der Streek as well coming to the end of the pit lane. So Robe's coming out ahead of Luke van der Streek. Luke van der Streek will come out in 4th place, I think ahead of China Ski. Yeah, he's well ahead of China Ski, miles ahead of him. So once Jill Silverine comes into the pits, that will promote Luke van der Streek up into 4th place. But Robe has come out, I think, ahead of Jill Silverine in 3rd, or has he come out behind him for the time being? I think, yeah, Robe's come out in 4th behind Jill Silverine, but that will turn to 3rd once obviously Jill Silverine comes in and makes his pit stop. Jill Silverine, the only driver now to not come in and make his mandatory pit stop here in this race. But the question that I'm waiting to see is whether Robe can maybe catch up to the back of Kev Sim here and potentially fighting for that second place. The gap between Kev Sim and Robe, I think it's about 20 odd seconds at the moment, 25 seconds with 23 minutes on the clock. My calculations are right. I think we're going to have about 15 more laps in this race, so 25 seconds over 15 laps. He'd have to lap about 1.6 seconds a lap quicker than Kev Sim to catch him. But saying that, with the fresher tyres at this point in the race, it could be possible. Oh, has Kev Sim made a mistake? Is that Kev Sim made a mistake? He has made a mistake. Kev Sim has gone into the wall, and he might have damage on the front right bumper of that car. There's Robe just coming through turn 1. Kev Sim just coming on the exit of turn 4. He was about 25 seconds ahead. I reckon he's probably about 20 seconds clear now. I reckon Robe's gained at least 5 seconds on him there. We'll see once we get to the splits, but Jill Silverine nonetheless in the pits, so that means that these two are now running 2nd and 3rd, so the battle for second place here in this race could well and truly be back on here between Kev Sim and Robe. But Jill Silverine on his way out of the pits now. And yeah, Kev Sim there making a bit of a mistake, obviously on the same tyres he started the race on. Robe on fresh rubber in 3rd place, just under 18 seconds behind him at the moment. So can Robe catch up to the back of Kev Sim and pass him before the end of this race? The battle for second place looking like it's very much on here between these guys. China Ski's running in P6, he's just under 2 seconds ahead of Guido Chris, so that's one to watch as well. That could be an interesting battle. Joram is only 3 seconds behind Exteron as well, so can he catch up to the back of him for 9th place? Rusty Man only 3 seconds behind Diego as well. Those two in 12th and 13th places. And HJ Fletcher's only 2.5 seconds clear of Sparky Franchise for 16th and 17th. But the gap between Kev Sim and Robe, we're going to find out over the line. 17 seconds. So Robe's gained about a second since the incident for Kev Sim. Is he lapping what he needs to be in order to catch him before the end of the race? I reckon we got about maybe 14 laps left in this race, so Robe just needs to average about a second and a half a lap, and he'll be on him with a couple of laps left in the race. So a second and a half a lap is all Robe needs over Kev Sim to catch him and pass him before we get to the end. So second place definitely on the cards here for Robe. China Ski is almost in a second of Jill Silver, and in fact he is now within a second. And what's happened actually, because Guido Chris has got ahead of China Ski, so sorry, misreporting that one. Guido Chris is the one on the back of Jill Silver, and oh, Jill Silver loses coming out the first corner, and Guido Chris there moves up into P5. Where's China Ski in all of this? China Ski's also done Jill Silver in as well, so China Ski, or has he? Hold on a sec. China Ski is here, is just there, and Jill Silverin, yeah, so China Ski also ahead of Jill Silverin. Jill Silverin drops from 5th down to 7th place. Guido Chris into P5 and China Ski into 6th. And Guido Chris, what a shame there. Sort of for Jill Silverin there, down to 7th place. But yeah, Guido Chris there up into P5. And if Jill Silverin's got a bit of damage there, he might find himself vulnerable to Tumbaz, who's only 3.6 seconds behind. Also keeping an eye on this battle for 9th place, because Exeron is now only 2.5 seconds, although having said that, it's gone up between Exeron and Gelram. It was about 2.5 seconds, it's now up to 3.5, so I think Gelram might have made a mistake there coming to that first sector. So now Exeron looking a little bit more comfortable in that 9th position. Guido Chris has got 2.62 China Ski at the moment. Exeron's got a drive through, so that will give Gelram P9. And probably drop Exeron behind a Coding Monkey as well. Maybe it might drop him behind Diego. So Exeron probably is good. Well, he's definitely going to be dropping out of the top 10 here. But how far outside the top 10, we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to be a frustrating one there for him for sure. There's Titan Guto still leading the race. He's well clear of Kev Sim. What's the gap between Kev Sim and Robe? Because that's one that we've got to keep watching until the end of the race. Robe's obviously going to have much better tyres by the time we get to the end of the race. Drive through for car number 6, Exeron. Obviously that's just a reminder there of the incident that we already know about. But we are going to have about 12 more laps here in this race until we get to the checkered flag. I reckon 12 or 13 more laps, and the gap between Kev Sim and Robe is coming down very quickly here. So I said before, Robe, he just needs to consistently lap about a second and a half a lap quicker than Kev Sim, and he will catch him well before the end of the race and should have ample opportunity to overtake him. But is he just going to be able to keep consistent and not make any mistakes? We got Maria in the comments here saying, speed up Titan Guto. Maria, that's not some good advice there. I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing at the moment. He's got the lead, he's got more than enough of a gap. He just needs to stay consistent here. Titan Guto's doing everything he needs to do. Titan Guto, keep it calm, mate. Just keep it calm, keep it cool. Don't do anything mad, or don't try any heroics. Just yeah, keep it up, keep up the good work. Don't need to push. You got 20 seconds ahead of Kev Sim. We see Robe there just going past the back marker, who's trying to move out of the way there. I think that's Rusty Man starting to get used to the liveries now. We're in the second round of the season. It's getting to that point in the season where I need to start knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to who's in what car and who's in what livery. So we see Kev Sim just putting a lap there on Drew the Great in the Porsche P18 currently in this race as it stands. We see a drive through now. It's cleared there for car number 6. That's Exeron there, who served that drive through. Now where has he come out? Now Coding Monkey's into P10. Diego I think has got ahead of him as well, up into 11th. Rusty Man, where's Rusty Man? Exeron's come out ahead of Rusty Man. So Exeron out in P12 here, so loses 3 places. That's actually what I predicted, I think, so I'm quite glad I Guessed that one right. Extra on there is now just about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Rusty Man. You can see on the timing board, not much of a gap between those two. Gap between Guido Christ and China Ski's coming down as well, 2.1. It just went up by a tenth in that final sector there, up to 2.2, but on the whole, China Ski is making gains on Guido Christ here. So China Ski could be fancying a P5 here in this race. Joram continuing to gain on Tumbaz, but Tumbaz gaining on Jill Silverin as well. So I'll tell you what, this could be an exciting battle here for 7th place as we come into turn 1. Jill Silverin with a little bit of damage on the front end of that McLaren as well. You can see it's been through the walls a little bit, as Tumbaz is going around the outside there of Jill Silverin, around the outside of turn 2. What a move there from him. And Tumbaz there up into 8th in the race. 7th in the, what the hell? Oh, as Jill Silverin loses it coming out of the second chicane, and Tumbaz there gets the position handed to him on a plate. That'll move Joram up into 8th place as well, so Tumbaz and Joram up into 7th and 8th places respectively here. We've got Totalies are okay saying can please check the timetables, especially on 2nd place battle. Robe currently 12 seconds behind Kevsim at the moment. Totally 0k, and he's continuing to gain at quite a rate. He's been about an average of 1.5 seconds a lap, so at this point I think Robe will catch him by the time we get to the last couple of laps of the race if he continues this momentum. Also Joram is gaining on Tumbaz quite quickly here. There's now only 1 second between Tumbaz and Joram, so Joram could be looking at a P7 here by the time we get to the end of this race for sure. Guido Christ has just extended the gap to China Ski. He's now 3.3 clear of him, and now 3.5. So Guido Christ seems to have responded to the pace of China Ski here. Keeping an eye on the battle between 2nd and 3rd places, because Lucas Robe on the fresh tyres will be gaining hand over fist on Kevsim in the closing stage of this race. The gap is 11.5 seconds between those two. Now I reckon at this point we're probably going to have about, I reckon we've got 10 laps to go at this point, either 9 or 10 laps left to go. So Robbie is still on course to catch Kevsim with a couple of laps left in this race. As it stands in this race, Robbie will be on the back of Kevsim with 2 laps left to go. So as it stands, he's definitely looking good, because Kevsim, as we said before, will have very worn out tyres, and I don't think he's going to have much of an answer to Robbie when he arrives on the back of him. As Joram looking down the inside of Tumbaz, coming into the penultimate corner. We just caught the tail end of that move as it was materialising there. Joram, I think, has done that one up into 7th place. Yes, he has. And Joram, the 3-time champion of the Formula 1 League here at Motive, up into P7 on only a 2nd appearance here at Motive on ACC. And he's done a fantastic job there to get himself into P7. Not the best of Davies last week at Monza, but he's certainly made up for it so far here tonight at Zolder. And we've got probably about 8 or 9 laps left to go here in this race, and he's currently on course to pick up some very good points here in this his 2nd appearance of the season. As the gap between Kevsim and Robe is coming down by 4 tenths so far on this lap. So Robe not continuing to make the gains that he has been making over the course of this 2nd stint. See what the gap is as they come over the line. 10.4 the gap. So on that last lap, Robe gained 1.1 seconds. Now we've probably got 9 laps left in this race. If he continues to gain at that rate, he actually won't catch him. But that looks like it was quite a messy lap there for Robe. I don't know whether he had to deal with anything. Looks like he's got some traffic here as well, which isn't going to be helping him at all. So that's a car number 720 of a Coding Monkey. So Robe will be hoping that Coding Monkey can move aside here for him. Oh, as the Coding Monkey loses it out of the first chicane, and Robe there let off the hook completely as a Coding Monkey in the barriers right now, and is just getting it going again. And back onto the track there he comes. But Robe still got to negotiate this car just up ahead of him. So that is a Ferrari there in the foreground. That is car number 15, I think that is. So that's Diego just in front of Robe there. But Robe's got to negotiate. The gap under 10 seconds now between Kev Sim and Robe. Gap under 10 seconds with 8 laps left in this race, I believe. If my calculations are correct, we've got 8 laps to go. And a gap 9.6 between these two. Robe on average lapping just about a second, a bit over a second a lap quicker, so he'll be on Kev Sim at the end, but he needs to clear this Ferrari, and he has done there. Diego eventually moves aside, and Robe now into some clean air, and he's got some clear track ahead of him for what seems to be quite a long way at the moment. 9.2 the gap between Kev Sim and Robe at this point. Kev Sim has also got some traffic, and he's just cleared it actually. That looks like that's Drew the Great just behind him. So Kev Sim's cleared that traffic, but has got some more just up ahead of him. So this gap of 9 seconds continues to come down at a rate. Robe really flying in the last part of this race, as you would expect on his fresh tyres. Are they going to pay dividends by the time we get to the end of this race? Guido Chris is gapping Chinaski at the moment. He's 4.5 seconds clear of him as it stands. Chinaski is actually further ahead of Jelram than he was before, so I don't know if Jelram's made a mistake. He's still nearly 3 seconds clear of Tumbaz, so I don't think he's made a mistake. It's unlikely. GPL Racer and Andrew look like they've been having a battle here. Andrew's moved up into 21st place by the looks of it. In fact 20th, because they've both got ahead of Leximate. So Leximate in the pits, I think. And we've lost a driver as well, so somebody's just retired from the race, but I don't see who it was. No, I don't know who it was. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. That's the second week in a row. It's like a poison chalice. Second place on this game is a poison chalice, I swear to God. Kev Sim is disconnected from the race here. With a few laps left, it was going to be such a gripping finale to the race, and it's now just suddenly gone out of the window. It's like we thought it was going to be a great battle there. We thought that it was going to be Robe closing up onto the back of Kev Sim. We didn't know who was going to get P2. And it's now just been taken away from us because Kev Sim is disconnected. Last week in the Tier 1 race, those of you who watched would have seen, with 2 laps left to go, we saw Tinus in the house running in second place and disconnected. The same thing's happened to Kev Sim here. Really is quite unbelievable. Kev, if you want, mate, jump back in the race, because if you jump in quickly, you'll probably come out, I'd say, reasonably high up the order, probably even in the mid-pack, because there's such a spread between the pack. There's guys who are 2 laps down, 3 laps down, sort of like towards the back of the pack. So Kev, if you're still listening, mate, get yourself back in, score some points. There's definitely going to be some good points on offer here. guys, final few minutes here of the Tier 2 race for round 2 of the season here for the GT3 Championship on ACC here at Motive. We've currently got Titan Guto leading the way. He's well clear of Lucas Robe. Unfortunately, we lost Andrew, who was running in second place just a couple of laps ago. Robe was reeling him in, but it was going to be a close battle for all the way to the flag. Andrew on worn tyres, Robe on fresh tyres. It was going to be an exciting finish to the race, but unfortunately, we were robbed of that one. Obviously that's promoted everybody else, so Luke van der Street's into the podium places, Guido Christian 4th, Chinaski P5, Gelram a fantastic P6 in this race after a shaky debut last week at Monza. He's had the qualifying pace since day dot, but it looks like he's now got some consistency there as well. Tumbas there running in 7th place, a very good performance from him tonight as well. But yeah, it's been quite a night. Looking at the timing board, it looks like the gap between Jill Silver and Diego's only about 2 seconds, so it's looking pretty close here. That could be something to watch. Exteron's only 2 seconds behind Diego, so Exteron's managed to claw his way back into the top 10 after having to come in for a drive-through penalty a few laps ago, dropped him down to P12 at the time. What can Exteron do here? Can he get himself maybe a P8? Only 4 seconds right now off of Jill Silver. And Capriglia running in 16th ahead of Sparky Franchise. Capriglia, what a debut last week at Monza, has not had the same sort of performance this time out as Zolder though. But I'll tell you what, Diego's really gaining on Jill Silver, and the gap's down to 1.3 now between those two. As we see Jill Silver in almost just going straight on there over the second chicane, maybe struggling a little bit with tyres at this stage in the race. Diego creeping ever closer to the back of him here as they come down towards the penultimate corner of the lap. There's Exteron in the background. As we come down to the final chicane, you can see there Diego having a look there on Jill Silver into the final chicane. Jill Silver just tagging the grass a little bit there as he came into the braking zone. Diego now going for the run out of the corner, and Jill Silver, I tell you what, he's having to defend very early here. Diego might be able to drive clean around the outside here. You get a good run, you actually get a good grip on the outside of turn 1, and Diego goes late on the brakes and manages to swoop around the outside, goes a bit wide on the exit, but Diego manages to complete the move there up into 8th place. Jill Silver couldn't do anything about it. Now Jill's got to watch out because Exteron is very close on the back of him as well here, but Diego up into 8th place, a good move there around the outside of turn 1. Here goes Exteron up the inside of Jill Silver as well, and Jill Silver has lost 2 places in a couple of corners there, and Exteron is up into 9th. Now can Exteron chase after Diego for that 8th place? But nonetheless, Jill Silver in there, I think, struggling on worn out tyres and a bit of damage there as well on that McLaren. Diego up into 8th, but Exteron will be trying to reel him in if he can in the last couple of laps here of this race. Titan Guto just starting lap 39 now, so we're going to have 2 more laps in this race. It's going to be a 40 lap race all told by the time we get to the end. Titan Guto just doing what he has to do right now. He's been doing everything right over the course of this one. He obviously lost out to Kev Sim at the start of the race. Kev Sim led the race in the early stages. We saw a 4-way battle for the lead at one point with Kev Sim leading the battle, and then we had Titan on the back of him. We had Andrew and Robe running behind them in a 4-way battle, but once Titan got in some clean air, he just did not look back. I think Titan might have also been running a full tank compared to the other guys, maybe on fresher tyres. We saw that Kev Sim definitely did full tank it like Titan did, but didn't have the pace in the second stint, then obviously disconnected. And with Andrew, he disconnected very early on, so we don't really know what he could have done in this race. So what could have been for both of those guys? with Andrew obviously getting himself back in the session down in P19, so still some decent points on offer for him. Kev Sim has also got himself back in as well, so he will score points for 21st. Could do with getting a few laps in just to make sure that he gets enough laps to score points, but I think he'll be alright. He looks like he's 5 laps down, so yeah, he should be. Yeah, he'll score points for that. He's alright. But Titan Guto coming up towards the line, about to start the final lap of the race.
Alright, man, the leader is on the final lap.
He's got a 29-second gap, and the timer was on 31 seconds as he crossed the line, so couldn't really afford to sit there and wait for the timer to hit 0. If he'd done that, he would have lost the race to Robe. So Titan Guto carrying on to start his final lap. Lap 40, we see Robe just coming out of the final chicane now, and he will cross the line just before it gets to 0. So there we go, Robe onto the final lap of the race. Gap 28 seconds. Robe actually closing on Titan Guto in the closing stages, but he won't get the win because obviously he's too far behind for one. But Robe much quicker than Titan Guto in the final stint of this race. It's only because he changed tyres and ran a half tank in the first stint. That's why he's obviously had to change tyres, and that's why he's so much quicker in the final part of this race. But you lose loads of time being in the pits because obviously the time that it takes to change tyres and put fuel in means that you lose loads of loads of ground to the other drivers. But Titan Guto nonetheless is coming into the final part of the lap, and what a drive it's been from him. He took the win last week at Monza in the opening round of the season, and was on pole position for tonight. We saw him dominant pole in the qualifying session, and then at the start of the race got jumped by Kev Sim, was running in second for a little while, managed to eventually get ahead of him. We reckon he probably full tanked, that's the reason why he struggled compared to Kev Sim in the first stint. But nonetheless, Titan Guto up towards the line. He's going to take the checkered flag here at Zolder, and it's going to be another win. 2 from 2 in Tier 2 for Season 3 here on the PlayStation 5 Emotive, on ACC, on the PS5 for the GT3s. Robe is coming into the final chicane. He's just got a driver in front of him here. That's a lap car there. I think that's Sparky Franchise, if my knowledge of liveries is correct. Yes, it is. So Robe coming out onto the start finish straight, and it's going to be a P2 here for him as he comes over the line. So a good result there for him, some good points in the bag there for Robe. And they are so far clear of Luke van der Streets, who is only coming through the second chicane now. He's 3 seconds clear of Guido Christ, and Chinaski a little way behind them. But Titan Guto, the race winner, lapped everyone up to P6, which is quite incredible really. So Joe Ram has finished in 6th ahead of Tom Baz in 7th, Diego's finished the race in 8th, Extra on 9th, Rusty Man in 10th. Cody Monkey's crossed the line in 11th place. Jill Silverin is just coming over to take 12th place on the track. There he is. Emma Fidei, Caprigia, Sparky Franchise have all finished the race 2 laps down. GPL, Lexi have finished the race multiple laps down. Drew the Great and Andrew still coming around. Nate J. Fletcher is going to finish the race. He's 2 laps down. He's just going to come out on the last corner to finish in 13th place. China Ski is going to cross the line in 5th, the last driver on the lead lap. And Drew the Great will be the next driver over the line to finish 3 laps down. I think he's the last driver to finish the race. But Titan Guto, what a performance there from him. 2nd win in the space of a couple of weeks. Titan Guto, if you want to race in Tier 1 for the rest of this season, if you're listening, the opportunity is yours. But guys, we're back very shortly. Give us about 10 minutes or so and we'll be live for the Tier 1s here at Motive. They're just, I think, coming to the end of their practice session now, so their qualifying session will be starting in just over 5 minutes time. But grab yourselves a drink, get yourselves a snack, go to the loo, do what you got to do, and we'll be back in a moment, so don't go anywhere.
Green light, go, go, go.
demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this road. Is what I tell myself. So I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stops a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. Wait, I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired. But you don't care, no, you don't care, no. You just rather watch me fall from a quarter mile. I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring will tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion. I'm going into oblivion. Into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion. I'm going in. You can't fall asleep when you're counting stars. Get it together. Your mind can't sleep when you let it serve. But now you wanna see me fall from a quarter mile. I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring will tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see I'm going in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the tier ones for the GT3s here on ACC on the PlayStation 5 at Motive Racing, as we have got obviously round 2 of the season here at Zolder. Last week we had Monza, this week Zolder. We just had the tier 2s a few moments ago before we got going for the tier 1s, and what a race we had there in that one. It was a couple of disconnections, unfortunately being paid to a few battles which I thought were going to be quite exciting, but nonetheless hopefully we see everybody who starts this race get to the checkered flag. We've got Jazzman currently on provisional pole position, our winner from last week. He is a 4-time champion here at Motive across various categories. Well, not various categories, they're all in the GT3s, but they're all different disciplines of it. We've had obviously the PS4 GT3 Endurance League on a Wednesday, the PS4 GT3 Sprint League, as well as obviously the PS5 GT3 League, the first ever PS5 GT3 season we had. And then last season obviously we saw PS Vids take that away from him, So PS Vids became the second ever PS5 GT3 champion. This season PS Vids has had to miss obviously last week and this week, so won't be able to defend his crown. So Jazzman definitely looking like the favourite to regain his crown, which he won in season 1, and currently he's got over half a second of a gap over Caterpillar at the top of this leaderboard, so he's looking in imperious form so far. Is our former champion of this GT3 championship. We've got Tinus in the house, currently third, who was second actually in the season that Jazzman last won it. He's currently gone up into P4 at the moment. R. Parker has just gone up into second place with that last lap, so that's a fantastic lap time there from R. Parker. Goes up to within a tenth of a second of Jazzman's provisional pole time, so that is a really impressive lap time indeed there from R. Parker. And yeah, potentially could be a challenger for this title. We saw R. Parker come close last season to winning the championship, came second to PS Vids, so he'll be desperate to go one better, I'm sure, this season, and could definitely be a contender. Driving the number 44, making no secret of the fact that I think he's a Lewis fan, which obviously R. Parker, you and I share a similar, we definitely share a similar what's it called? We have that in common, because obviously I've been a Hamilton fan since day dot, and you know, admittedly in recent years he's changed a little bit, but nonetheless I've always supported Lewis, and I always will. It's the reason why I got into motor racing and F1, and I think that's what the number 44 is. It would be really embarrassing if 44 happens to just be his lucky number, and it has nothing to do with Lewis Hamilton, but for some reason I just think it is. But anyway, we see Luca into the pits. He's just gone into P3 with that lap, just within half a second of Jazzman's fastest time, as we see Caterpillar also into the pits, so he looks like he's going in to make some changes. Oh, and Tinus has just gone pole. Tinus puts it P1 by just under 0.2 of a second there. It's a 1:27.9, but we did see Jazzman do a 1:27.9 also in the practice beforehand, so we know Jazzman's capable of doing a 1:27 around this circuit. But Tinus putting it to the top of the leaderboard right now, and doing a very nice lap time indeed there from him. We've got 20 drivers now in the session. I think we're expecting 21. We should hopefully be getting Tom in the session. I don't know if he got my DMs saying that he'd been accepted into the race. I wasn't able to accept him until after the tier 2 race had finished, so he might have thought he hadn't got in, but I did accept his request to race. So Tom, if you are watching, or if you did see, then you have got a place in this race if you want it. But currently looks like we're going to settle with just the 20 drivers here at the moment. Tonight probably was one of the worst you could ever imagine for people not being able to make the race. I think we had about 6 drivers who are regular drivers not able to make the race, and not a single one of the reserves could make it either. So you know what, it's probably like, you know, worst case scenario here. You've got 20 cars on the grid, which, saying that, I'll take that as a worst case scenario. You know what, a worst case scenario, 20 cars on the grid, that's not a bad worst case scenario if I'm honest with you. So yeah, pretty happy with the way things have turned out. We had 23 in tier 2, we have got 20 out on track in tier 1 tonight, so that's 43 drivers across both of our leagues here tonight on the GT3 Championship. So yeah, I'm still almost pinching myself with how well the PlayStation 5 GT3 side of things has turned out so far this season. I really am overwhelmed, and I'm so happy that people are enjoying the leagues, and we see so many people watching as well. People are sharing this with their friends, family members, and otherwise associates, I imagine, and just getting them to take a look at what's going on. And honestly, the response and the turnouts, they've been absolutely fantastic, and hopefully this season continues to be a great success, and we can build on that, and yeah, just have some great racing here on a Sunday night on ACC, some great GT3 racing on what is probably the most realistic, properly, you know, grinding out proper sim racing game, proper realistic. Everything is it feels like you're driving a real car. Everything is proper dialed in here on ACC, and we all love it. We all turn out here on a Sunday nights. We all take time out of our weeks and out of our Sundays to dedicate ourselves to this cause, myself including with the comms, but obviously you guys who practice and put in the work to make sure that you're ready to put on a good show. And obviously big thank you to everybody out on track right now. But it's currently Jazzman who leads the pack at the moment. Sorry, Tinus who leads the pack ahead of Jazzman, but Jazzman obviously was quickest in the practice session a few moments ago, and he's only a tenth adrift of Tinus. He has actually improved his lap time as well. The gap was 0.175 and it's now 0.128, so Jazzman improved his lap by half a tenth of a second. So he's got consistency, but it looks like at the moment Tynus has got the upper hand here. As we see Tynus coming up towards the line, can he improve on his 27.9? No, not just at the moment he can't, but he's obviously stays on provisional pole position. Can our Parker take a few tenths of a second off of his current P3? Here he's just letting somebody through. Somebody's just coming through to, I imagine, well, come around the corner just in front of him. As our Parker then moves straight on there onto the gravel. But yeah, making a few, tell you what, going for a bit of an excursion there, but we see Jazzman nonetheless coming into the final chicane. Can Jazzman go a little bit quicker here? Just over a tenth of a second adrift of Tynus into house, his fastest time right now. What can he do here as he comes up towards the line? Can Jazzman improve a little bit more here? No, stays in P2 for now then. You've got Tynus in the house just coming down towards the first chicane. Our Parker obviously starting another lap, having gone for a little bit of an off-roading session, coming through the final part of the lap. Luca going through the middle sector right now. He's currently fourth in this session as it stands. Caterpillar running in P5. Our Lampa's just gone up into P6 there with that last lap in the number 91 Ferrari, so he's had a good time there as our Lampa. We've got MVGT coming into the final chicane. Currently only P8 in this session. Surprising to see him down there because he was very quick at Monza last time out, and he's a quick driver around pretty much every track on this Assetto Corsa Competizione game, but he stays in P8 for the time being then. No improvement there from him. We've got Mary Louise coming into the final chicane. Matev has gone into P11, obviously got himself into the session a bit late on here, but he's done a time good enough for 11th place so far and has still got time on his side in this session. Mary Louise coming up towards the line. What can he do? Stays in P10 for the time being. Epiphany's got into 12th place in this session. Spuzz and Tom both in the pits, so it doesn't look like they're going to be improving or going any quicker in this session. Looks like their sessions are done. Karmasar into the pits as well, so I think his session is done as well. Lol 3000 coming into the final chicane. What can he put on the board here? He's got somebody just behind him as well, but we're going to watch Lol 3000 as he comes up towards the line. Is that Tynus or Jazzman behind him? Nonetheless, Lol 3000 stays in P15. Tynus comes over, and Jazzman has just gone P1. Sorry, that was Jazzman who was coming over the line, not Tynus. Jazzman goes P1 by a tenth of a second, so fractionally quicker than his good friend and rival Tynus in the house, who obviously was beaten by Jazzman to the title in the first season here for the PS5 GT3 Championship. But Jazzman currently provisional pole position here. How's that for a change up for the books? Not. But what can Tynus do here as he's coming through the final part of the lap? Can he maybe upset Jazzman at the top of this leaderboard? Here he comes through the final few corners, down towards the final chicane he comes. Can Tynus find that tenth and a bit here to put himself on provisional pole position here? He will get one more lap after this one, so if he doesn't do it here, it's not all doom and gloom. He will still get another opportunity, but nonetheless, over the line Tynus comes, and he doesn't improve at the moment. Stays in P2 for the time being, but Jazzman 27.8 is your pole man at the time for the time being. R Parker in the pits, so he's not going to improve in there. That's him done for the session. Lucas still out there, 7 tenths off for the pole time. Caterpillar likewise coming up towards the line. What can he do? Stays in P5 for now. We'll get one more lap in. Ludo's coming through the final few corners. MVGT's still out there as well, so Ludo will get this one and another one in after as well. So Ludo coming into the final chicane, currently P7, 9 tenths off. Can he get himself up the order a little bit? Can he get himself on the second row, maybe ahead of Luca? That could be a realistic shout here. He's only less than 2 tenths behind Luca's fastest time right now. Over the line comes Ludo, and he stays in P7 for the time being, so no improvements there for him. MVGT coming through the middle sector as it stands. Lucas coming through the middle sector, and Caterpillar is just coming out of the first chicane as it stands. Tynus in the house coming into the final few corners of the lap here. You've got Jazzman is just coming down towards the first chicane. What about Tynus? Tynus has got just the final chicane to come here. Tynus in the house, currently just under over a tenth off of the pole time here. He's carrying on with his lap, so he must be on a good one, because I can't imagine he would have persevered with it if he wasn't. So Tynus could be quite close here to taking pole position. Here he comes up towards the line. Is it going to be P1? It isn't. He has to set up a P2, just over a tenth still is the gap to Jazzman. Jazzman doesn't need to complete this lap because he's got pole position in the bag, but is he going to just try and rub salt in the wounds? Mary Louise pits, so does Johnny, so it is just your provisional pole man, Jazzman. Is he going to do it for pride? Is he going to try and make Tynus weep as he gets to the end of this qualifying session and maybe instill fear in him for the start of this race. Here comes your former PS5 GT3 champion out of the last corner, up towards the line. Is Jazzman going to make everybody cry here at the end of this qualifying session? He is going to make everybody cry. Look at that, 27.5, 4/10 clear of Tynus in the house. R. Parker nearly 7/10 off of the pole time, and then you've got Luca, Caterpillar, R. Lamper, Ludo and MVGT. That's 5 drivers there, separated by 0.2 of a second, but they're all over a second adrift of this man here in the number 14 Bentley. What a showing there from Jazzman in this qualifying session, taking a very dominant pole position indeed. Well, I say dominant pole position, 4/10, it's not massive, but you know, it's certainly a very solid gap. But saying that, Tynus generally goes better in the races than he does in the qualifying. He's always closer to Jazzman in the races than he is in quali, so this could be a very exciting race indeed. Round 2 of 8 here for the season. Jazzman and Tynus are going to be going at it here for the next hour or so, so we'll definitely buckle your seatbelts and stay tuned for this one. R. Parker could be a dark horse in third if the front two trip over each other, but those two generally keep it clean and tidy, and they're very good at playing the long game here, so I can't imagine they're going to be making too many mistakes here. But I just want to say a big warm welcome to everybody who's tuning into the stream tonight. If you guys are enjoying what you're watching right now, please do smash the like button, and if you want to join us on track, then be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com as well, or you can check me out on Discord. You can, if you'd like to, if you saw this link on Discord and you wanted to join, then just DM me on Discord. Obviously you know my Discord because you would have clicked this link from a post that I made, so just send me a DM, I'll send you the invite to the server, and yeah, you can join our leagues. We've got spaces in tier 2. I'm hoping to promote a couple of drivers up to tier 1 as well. I know one driver's definitely going to be joining us next week for tier 1, and that is Titan Guto, who took another dominant win in tier 2 tonight. He also won last week at Monza, so Titan Guto, he's actually already accepted my offer of a promotion to tier 1, so he will be racing in this league next season. So that's the big news here, is an early promotion for a driver in the shape of Titan Guto. And one of the reasons for that was just because his dominance in tier 2 is so pronounced, it just makes no sense to have him in there anymore. He's just a step above everybody else in terms of overall pace, and ultimately he deserves his opportunity. But nonetheless, we have got 30 seconds left to go. The drivers will now be able to click drive, and they'll be able to lock their setups in and be ready to go racing. And here we are then, second round of the season here for the tier 1s. Jazzman leading the championship, having taken the win last week. Tynus ended up giving him points for P10 last week because he did start the last lap of the race, so I slotted him in at P10. I thought it'd be a bit cheap to put him in at P2 considering he did disconnect at the end, but nonetheless I felt a bit bad not giving him any points at all, so he gets points for P10 from last week because he disconnected on the penultimate lap of the race. But here we are then, we're just getting ready to go now into the final chicane, and we're going to come around this last corner, and then we'll be green for round 2 of this season. So Jazzman and Tynus on the front row. Can Tynus get a good start and get the jump on his old foe here? What can R. Parker and Luca do from 3rd and 4th places? We're coming up on the line now, getting ready to go here in Belgium for round 2 of season 3 here on the PlayStation 5 in the GT3s at Motive.
The pit is now open.
And we are green. We are racing now down towards turn 1. Has Tynus got a good start? Looks like Jazzman's going to cover him off coming into turn 1 as we've all filed through. We've got 3 wide in the background there. R. Parker's lost out to Caterpillar and Luca. So Luca there down the inside of Caterpillar, keeping on to P3 there. But R. Parker losing out a couple of places. It's Jazzman though from Tynus here at the front. R. Parker losing a couple of places. You've got Luca there in 3rd ahead of Caterpillar, ahead of R. Lamper, who seems to have dropped a couple of places here. So he's not at the best of starts. He's got Matev on the back of him. So Matev has made a very strong start, and he's made up a few places here. But it's Jazzman, Tynus, Caterpillar from Luca, then R. Parker in 5th ahead of Ludo, followed by MVGT, Max Power in 8th, R. Lamper down to 9th with Matev in P10. You've got Spuzz there behind them ahead of Mary Louise, followed by Johnny Renwick. There's Epiphany in 14th ahead of Tom Quarantine, followed by Carmissar. You've got Lol 3000, Brando, Scuderia Paul, and High Grade at the back. Has had a nightmare first lap and is 7 seconds off at the back of anybody else at the moment. But Jazzman leading ahead of Tynus. Caterpillar, Luca and Arpark are pretty close at the moment as we're looking further down the order, and no moves currently being eyed up at this point. Karmasar looks pretty close on the back of Tom Quarantine. Somebody's hit the grass there in the mid-pack, not quite sure. We've got a move here in the foreground as that looked to have been Max Power there, looking to make a move there on Ludo into the second to last corner. Did he manage to complete the move, or did Ludo hold on? Oh, looks like there's been a bit of argy-bargy there between those two. Ludo is now well clear of him. Max Power's lost out here to MVGT and possibly our Lamper as well, who's looking down the inside. Oh, bit of contact there between the two of them, and Max Power pushing our Lamper out a little bit, and now Matev is going to be looking to try and capitalise on this and get our Lamper coming down the start-finish straight, but Matev's too far back and has to tuck in behind him for the time being. Spuz here looking up the inside of Matev into turn one. Spuz looking to make that move, and he's done it brilliantly there as Spuz. Oh, is Matev a bit wide and might be vulnerable here to Johnny. Johnny's looking around the outside of Matev into turn two, but Matev's got the inside line held on for the time being and keeps on to that position there, but Johnny almost being able to feast on those scraps being left behind by Matev. The gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus, 7/10 of a second. They gapped Caterpillar by quite a bit so far. R Parker and Luca just behind, so R Parker's got ahead of Luca, back up into fourth place after a bit of a sketchy start from R Parker. He dropped 2 positions in turn one, but he's made up one of those positions now and has now got a second up the road to Caterpillar, who sits in third place at the moment. As we look back to the mid-pack battle, this is still going on here. Our Lamper's got Spuz right on the back of him as Matev's looking to the inside here into the chicane. Oh, somebody's got off. Johnny there onto the gravel, goes straight on over the second chicane. And Mary Louise there in the background. You got Tom Quarantine, you got Epiphany there out wide as well, losing a couple of places. Karmasar moving ahead of Epiphany. Oh, what's happened? Oh no, somebody's spun, somebody's round. Oh my goodness me. That is Spuz, I think, in the wall, is it? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Don't think it is. Actually, yeah, it is. It is Spuz, who's had a spin there and he's hit the wall, and he's now been overtaken by yet another driver there in the shape of High Grade. Is High Grade now ahead of him as well? Wow, Spuz has dropped down to the back of the pack, and that's been an absolute nightmare of a start for him as we see Luca, the first driver to come into the pits here at the end of lap 2. So Luca making a very, very early pit stop indeed here in this race. But wow, dramatic start to this Tier 1 race here, round 2 of the season at Zolder, and it's currently Jazzman who leads the race by just under a second here ahead of Tynus. So you've got MVGT pressuring the back of Ludo here for 5th place. Matev still on the back of Johnny as they battled it out over 9th and 10th. You've got Luca who's just getting going now and back on his way. Karmasar is in a sandwich here between Tom and LOL 3000. Epiphany is also on the back of this battle as well. Bit of a gap back to Brando. Oh, what's going on there? Karmasar gets onto the grass and loses out there to LOL 3000 and Epiphany. As what's happened here to Scuderia Paul? He's lost out to Brando. So Brando there ahead of Scuderia Paul. Oh my goodness me. Wow, Epiphany there making a bit of a mistake coming out of the first chicane. He's now going to have to defend here as they come down to the second chicane. Looks like he manages to keep onto it though. Did well there to keep on to that. Oh, Karmasar and Brando. Oh, pile up. Absolute pile up. Epiphany and Karmasar. Sorry, not Brando. But Brando get caught up in that one as well? I think he might have been. But that was, yeah, Brando was caught up catastrophically. Oh, and Brando tags the back of Epiphany as well for good measure. Karmasar is coming under pressure here from High Grade. So High Grade, in fact High Grade's just behind him, sorry, so that's Scuderia Paul who's just behind Karmasar, but Karmasar having a collision there with Epiphany. Brando dragged into it as well. Brando seems to have come off worse than either of those two as well, so it's really gone horribly there for him, but Karmasar coming off best of the drivers involved. And actually is back ahead of Scuderia Paul, who's gone wide onto the grass here and might just about, I think, hold on ahead of High Grade coming into turn 1. So High Grade was at the back of the pack in P20 before. He's now made up a few places with everybody in front of him seemingly making mistakes, and Scuderia Paul wide coming through turn 1 almost onto the gravel, and High Grade did not need a second invitation there, moves himself up into 14th place. Karmasar in the foreground there coming through your shot in P13, but he's well behind LOL 3000 who's in 12, and he's not too far off of Tom Quarantine. You see in the foreground there just going through the first chicane. Gap at the front between the two leaders, Jazzman and Tynus, is only 0.3 of a second right now, so Tynus has really made gains here on Jazzman in the last lap or so. 19 of you currently watching the stream, smash the like button and show your appreciation for these guys who are having a great battle out the front. These two old rivals who battled it out over the championship in season 1 for this PlayStation 5 GT3 championship, currently running toe to toe at the moment as we're coming out of the final chicane, back out onto the start finish straight once again, and they are absolutely locked horns here, and they're in a league of their own. They're putting daylight between themselves and Caterpillar, who's running in third place. He's got just over a second to R. Parker, so those two matching each other for pace at the moment. Although saying that, R. Parker must have made a mistake in that final sector there, because the gap's now nearly 3 seconds between Caterpillar and R. Parker. There's Ludo and MVGT battling out over 5th and 6th places. There you got Max Power in 7th ahead of R. Lamper. Johnny there still going in 9th place. He's got Matev on the back of him as they're coming into turn 1. And they got a couple of seconds back to Tom, who's there in 11th place. Lowell 3000 there in P12 ahead of Commissar, who's got High Grade on the back of him as they're coming over the line to complete their 4th laps of the race. Just under a second separating Commissar and High Grade in 13th and 14th. There you got Scuderia Paul, who seems to be dropping off the pace of those two a little bit. He's 2 seconds behind with a bit of damage on the front of his car as well. Luke has been in for his pit stop already. Brando's still yet to come in, really struggling after that pile up that we saw coming through the second chicane, a couple of laps ago. But Luke at the highest runner of the pit stop drivers. Mary Louise, Epiphany and Spuzz have all been into the pits as well. But Jazzman has just extended his gap over Tynus a little bit over the course of this lap so far. It's now just over 7/10 of a second, so Jazzman looking a bit more comfortable in this lead than he was a few moments ago. MVGT still on the back of Ludo as these two battled it out over 5th and 6th places as they're coming through towards the final chicane right now. But it's been all go in the first few laps of this race. Matev is on the back of Johnny, battling over 9th place as it stands. But Jazzman and Tynus still running quite close here as they're coming through turn 2 here on lap 6 of the race. Plenty of you currently watching the stream here. We've got Totally Zero K loving it here, saying, oh, the drama, this is going to be a great race for the Coding Monkey. Talking about his tier 2 race there. I really enjoyed the race tonight, much better than my first. Well, good to see, mate. Obviously, you know, each race needs to be better than the previous one. You're just about keeping building on some momentum and getting to know the game a bit more, getting to understand league racing, and obviously progress is progress, and hopefully you continue to get some understanding here in this league or in this tier 2 division here at Motive. But currently with the tier 1s right now, we've got Ludo and MVGT 4/10 apart coming out of their first chicane. Down towards the second chicane they come. And MVGT is still a little bit too far back here on Ludo. The gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus is still 0.8 of a second. Tom's still trying to put the pressure on Johnny as they're battling over 10th place at the moment. Always Tom's just got a bit of a run there coming down towards the second chicane, but just a little bit too far back on Johnny as they come into the corner. Commissar is close on the back. Oh, what's happened? What's happened to High Grade? High Grade's made a mistake out of the first chicane. Has his wheel disconnected or something? He seemed to just be almost stationary there. Scuderia Paul's moved up into 14th place. High Grade, I think, has come out just ahead of Luca, maybe. Yeah, so there's High Grade, and there is Luca in the background. So Luca obviously having been into the pits already. High Grade down to 15th in this race. And he seems to be carrying some damage here because he seems to be all over the place at this point. So High Grade here is going to have to come in out, you would imagine, at the end of this lap, as you see Luca there just moving up ahead of him. So Luca's obviously already been into the pits. Is Luca going to try for the undercut here on some of the front runners, possibly get himself into the podium places here in this race? 20 drivers still going here for the tier 1s here at Motive for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship. The two leaders, Jazzman and Tynus, still separated by not much. The gap was a second at the last checkpoint. It looks a little bit less than that now. That looks like it's about maybe 8-9 tenths, maybe a little bit less than a second. Yeah, 9 tenths, so it's come down a slight little bit. But yeah, Jazzman and Tynus here once again locking corners as they have done so many times in races that they've both been in. They're currently bossing this race. Caterpillar's got a healthy gap back to R. Parker, who seems to have made a few mistakes. Ludo's closer than ever to R. Parker. Was that him making a move on R. Parker coming through the second to last corner? As the cameraman just pans to them now, R. Parker seems to have just held on here ahead of Ludo, but Ludo's looking up the inside into the final chicane. Is he going to send one up the inside? R. Parker goes late on the brakes and holds on there in 4th place, but Ludo's just trying to put it up him a little bit here, trying to crank up the pressure on R. Parker a bit, but R. Parker's currently got the answer at the moment as they start their 8th laps of the races. As Jazzman and Tynus still just under a second, the gap between those two, so it's staying consistent at the moment. Ludo still looking on R. Parker. Into turn 2 they go. Nothing doing. In fact, that is a lapped car there trying to get ahead of Ludo as well, so Ludo's got to watch out here. He's got a Mercedes trying to fight him here. Sorry, no, that's MVGT. What am I talking about? Why did I think that? What made me think that that was a lap car? I'm trying to work out what made me think that was a lap car, because I genuinely don't know what made me think that. Because looking at the gaps, it's half a second. I don't know. I'm not sure why I thought that, but nonetheless, Jazzman has got the gap over a second now to Tynus, and the cameraman's just yet to pan to them. That's actually not Jazzman and Tynus, that's completely the other two other drivers, but there we go. You've got Jazzman and Tynus now in the shot, as the gap seems to have just come under a second again. I think just a little bit under a second. It looks like it's more than 1.1. I reckon, oh, it's maybe just over a second actually. Yeah, just over a second still. So Jazzman got a much better run out of that last corner and extended his gap ever so slightly. So 1.2, the gap between the front two. MVGT is now really close on the back of Ludo, the phantom lapped car of MVGT, who is actually running in a perfectly healthy P6 behind these two, battling over fourth, sorry. And yeah, at the moment, MVGT always gone a bit wide as Ludo, and MVGT just a little bit too far back to capitalise on that one at the moment. Max Power still on the back of these guys, running in 7th place. In the meantime, you've got Arlampa and Matev still running pretty close in 8th and 9th, half a second between those two. Tom Quarantine still pretty close on Johnny at the moment as well, as they battered it out over P10. As Ludo trying to keep himself in the hunt here on our Parker as it stands in this race. But our Parker seems to just have control of this 4th place at the moment ahead of Ludo. MVGT will be hoping to feast on these scraps as well. If these two leave anything behind, leave anything on the table, then you'll bet that he'll be there ready to pounce. Arlampa and Matev here battling over 8th and 9th places. You've got Johnny and Tom Quarantine there, just under a second separating those two. They're about 3 seconds clear of LOL 3000 at this point. Here we go, our Parker down the start finish straight into turn 1, 3/10 is his gap to Ludo. There's MVGT with Max Power just a couple of seconds behind them. Parker there just really walloped that curb coming through the first chicane. It looked like he was all over the place, but somehow pulled away from the two guys behind him. Tell you what, he looked shaky there, didn't he? Wobbling all over the place through the second chicane. And Ludo and MVGT will be watching this unfold, but Ludo now is almost on the bumper of our Parker as they're coming down towards the second chicane. Oh, second to last corner, should I say? And he's looking at him on the inside there. Ludo goes way too down the brakes and he gets tagged around by MVGT as well. And that was a bit ambitious there from Ludo, I've got to say. Our Parker can continue on his way. The cameraman's just catching up to the action there, but Ludo, they're very ambitious indeed. I know we've just clicked on Ludo, but unfortunately the cameraman's showing us the drivers behind him coming through the corner that he's just gone through. So there is Ludo. He's now well off at the back of that battle there. So our Parker and MVGT left to scrap it out over 4th, but Ludo here into the pits to get that damage fixed on the front end of that car. And our Parker and MVGT still going there in 4th and 5th places. Gap at the front between Jazzman and Tynus, just under 2 seconds. So at the moment, Jazzman seems to have the edge ever so slightly, but did Tynus make a couple of mistakes? Tynus currently has the fastest lap of the race as it stands, so he's going quicker on the whole, but Jazzman's definitely the more consistent of the two at this point. Jazzman's just eking his gap out a little bit by bit. He's just extending it to Tynus in the house. MVGT's on the back of our Parker as they're coming through the second chicane. As Ludo's coming coming back out onto the track here to resume his race. You've got Brando just coming out of the pits now as well. As Carmesar's got Luca, Carmesar's got Luca on the back of him. As Luca's looking to the outside into the first chicane, Carmesar's not letting him through. Despite all the different strategies, but Carmesar's got into the wall there, coming through the first chicane. He gets it all wrong, stacks it there straight into the tyre barrier. That's going to release Luca into some clean air. Carmesar's still in the barriers. He's been passed now by Ludo. No, not by Ludo. Sorry. In fact, no, he's been passed by nobody. Those were lapped cars, or rather, cars that were a lap ahead of him that were making their way through. And Carmesar has retired the car from the race, so that is his race done and dusted there. Carmesar will take no further part in this race, and that is a massive shame there. So he's fed up, he's done for the night, and he is now obviously will go again next week. But a bit of a disappointment there for Carmesar as we go to the battle here between R Parker and MVGT, who are still running pretty close here for fourth place. You've got Tom Quarantine still pressuring Johnny for 9th place at the moment, as they've got Lol 3000 on the back of them as well. So this is a three-way battle here for 9th place. MVGT still hassling the back of R Parker as he has been for so many laps now, but just hasn't been able to find a way through, has he? Still on the back of Johnny here, Lol 3000 currently completing that trio of cars, battling over 9th place. Luca there is next in the classification, but he's a long way behind. Obviously Luca's the highest runner of those who have been into the pits. I reckon Luca's probably in a net battle for the podium places with Caterpillar by the time all is said and done with the pit stops. MVGT's getting closer to the back of R Parker, but still can't find a way through, but needs to continue to lose time to Caterpillar. Oh, as R Parker gets it all wrong coming out of turn 4, but I think that he will be able to hold on ahead of MVGT as they come down under the Yokohama bridge in towards the first chicane. He's just not close enough as MVGT to be able to put him under real pressure. R Parker clouting that curve, but I tell you what, every time it seems to do it, and it seems to get away with it. I think the Honda has just got this ability to ride the curves insanely and somehow get away with it. It seems that there's no consequences at all for him clouting those curves. He's all over the place, but he's managing to do so without really suffering any time loss. And currently MVGT still can't find a way through at the moment. But Max Power, I tell you what, he is definitely closing the gap to him here. He's going to be looking pretty racy on the back of him, I'm sure, in a moment. But yeah, R Parker at the moment doing what he needs to do. He's weaving around a bit. I'll tell you what, he's leaving the door open here as MVGT looking to the inside into turn 1. Is he going to let him through? MVGT's looking at the inside. R Parker keeping it around the outside. He's on the curve a little bit, rattling around, and R Parker there's going to have to concede. MVGT's got the move done into turn 2. MVGT around the outside in the end, up into 4th place. R Parker's got to be careful because he's got Max Power now all over him as well, as R Parker's trying to come back at MVGT. But I'll tell you what, that just does not look comfortable, that car. It really looks like he's really struggling at this stage with a bit of damage potentially, and here comes MVGT now to try and knock him while he's down, as he's looking up the inside into the first chicane, but he's too far back. Oh, as MVGT gets it all wrong coming to the first chicane now. This might allow R Parker to get it wrong coming down towards the second chicane. No, not quite. MVGT's got enough there, managed to actually keep some momentum because he went straight on over the chicane, so he essentially cut it. Would have lost time obviously due to the bump, so kind of evened itself out. R Parker gets it a bit wrong there coming through that section, but doesn't really lose any time as a result. Oh, in the meantime Tom's just gone wide. No, it wasn't Tom, it was somebody else. It was just the person who was in my camera shot as I clicked onto him. was actually low 3000s that we saw go wide there, but Tom on the back of Johnny, these two battling out over 9th place as they're coming down towards the penultimate corner. Obviously Tom running in an Audi, low 3000 likewise. They're running in the same livery Audi, so you can forgive me for that one, but Johnny still keeping Tom at bay as they're coming down to the final chicane. R. Parker into the pits to get that little bit of damage fixed that's on his car. He's obviously been costing him a little bit of performance and making his drivability not where we want it to be, I'm sure. So he's now in to get that fixed and come out hopefully in a better position to do something in the second part of this race. But the battle at the front between Jazzman and Tynus is kind of petered out. Jazzman's got nearly 3 seconds to Tynus, but over the course of the rest of the race we'll just have to see what's happened in terms of the fuel loads. Has Jazzman got to put any fuel in? We reckon they're probably going to get a full race on the same set of tyres. R. Parker's out of the race, so R. Parker has left the session here. How strange. Well, I'm not quite sure why he's left the session here, because he wasn't in a bad position. Maybe R. Parker's maybe he's disconnected, I don't know. So we've lost R. Parker in the relatively early stages of this race. I wonder if he was speeding in the pit lane and got a drive-through penalty. Maybe he got to stop going, that's why he's retired. I'm not sure, but that is a massive shame there for R. Parker to lose him right in this. Well, we're not even halfway through the race yet. We've got Totally 0K saying in the comments, Max, super, Max, super, Max. Right now I think he's supporting his man currently in P5 here, Max Power, who's only 2 seconds behind MVGT, but he was a bit closer actually before, but still not too far away from a 4th place here in this race. You can see there's some traffic there in the foreground which MVGT has just had to negotiate. That's Mary Louise there, who Max Power will be coming around on in a few moments time. But yeah, right now it's looking very much like Jazzman is going to be the man to beat here. Currently Johnny's just gapped Tom a little bit. The gap's now nearly a second between those two. It's been well under a second for a considerable number of laps now, but looks like Johnny's now starting to crank it up a little bit as Tynus is into the pits here. A very early pit stop from Tynus in the house. Wow, I wasn't really expecting that. Well then, is he going to put some new tyres on maybe? Potentially going to go for, I don't know. I don't really know why he's coming in so early, unless he's just trying to go for an alternate strategy than Jazzman, just to try and leave Jazzman on his own, maybe hope that Jazzman kind of just tunes out a little bit, driving by himself. Could be what's going on in his head. Tynus onto the jacks here. Let's see how long that pit stop is. He's been stationary about 5 seconds so far. Looks like there is some fuel going in the car, or something at least. So I think that the top two, I reckon, have half tanked it here. So Tynus still in the box, so he is definitely putting fuel in the car, and I imagine changing tyres whilst he's at it as well. He's now off and away, so Tynus is moving. But yeah, I reckon that was definitely some fuel and a change of tyres there going on that Bentley. As Jazzman is about to come round to complete the next lap, so Jazzman's almost a lap ahead of him here. So there's Tynus coming through turn 4. There is Jazzman coming through turn 1. So how's that going to work out here for Tynus? Obviously coming in relatively early here, well before the halfway point. Tynus is 4 seconds clear of Luca as well, but Luca is obviously going to be not changing tyres because he came in so early, unless he changed tyres in his first stop, but to be fair I don't think he has. So Tynus is well clear of him in terms of net race finishing position, because obviously being 4 seconds ahead now, but with maybe a preferred strategy, he should be finishing ahead of him by quite a way. But Yeah, this could be an interesting one between Jazzman and Tynus here by the time we get to the end of this race. Tom is still pressuring back at Johnny, and he's got a great run actually coming out of the last corner. Over the line they come. Tom Quarantine is just going to squeeze through ahead of Johnny Renwick here. Down to turn 1 they come. That is job done there for Tom up into 7th place. Beautifully done there from him. Johnny can't come back at him as they come on the exit of turn 1. Down to turn 2, and Tom Quarantine there. Upper position. Johnny's trying to come back at him though as they come through turn 3. But Tom holding his own there. They've also got Tynus, who's going to be closing up onto the back of them soon, so they'll obviously have to watch out because Tynus is going to have pace on them. They don't have to let him through, obviously, because they're not lapped, and even if they were, GT rules don't stipulate that you have to get out of the way for a car that's lapping you, so Tynus is going to have to be careful. He's going to have to keep his wits about him here. He's got these two fighting out over 7th right in front of him. Lowell 3000 into the pits at the end of lap 18. Of you still watching the stream, guys, smash the like button if you've enjoyed what you've been watching so far here tonight. Been an interesting couple of rounds so far. We've obviously had the tier 2s before. We've had half of the tier 1s so far as well. Oh, bit of contact there on the exit of the final chicane as Tynus in the house has managed to get in between Tom and Johnny. Johnny's trying to come back at Tynus here. Tynus is actually ahead of Johnny, but Johnny's overtaken Tom as well, and in fact Tom's got him back into turn 1, so Tom has moved back ahead of Johnny. These two jumping and changing, but Tynus has managed to get ahead of both of them there, up into 7th place. As those two are tripping over each other, Tynus manages to avoid any incidents there, so he's done really well there as Tynus, to be fair, to not get himself in any trouble. Johnny on the back of Tom here, Johnny on the back of Tom. Tom is in 8th ahead of him. Timing screen was telling us another story, but unmistakably Tom there is ahead of Johnny as they come into the first chicane. Look at the gap that Tynus has already pulled to them though, nearly 2 seconds ahead, and he only passed them at the start of this lap, so he's just stepped on it and said, sorry chaps, I've got a race to try and win here tonight. Obviously in the battle for the lead with Jazzman, who's still yet to pit in this race, but Tom and Johnny giving it some here in this battle for 7th, or rather, 8th place, should I say, in this race. As they have got somebody just pulling up onto the back of them. That is definitely a lapped car. It's High Grade who's on the back of them at the moment, but High Grade has been into the pits already. These two have not. So they will certainly drop down the order some by the time they've come in and made their pit stops. Luca's 4 seconds behind them, but has already been in. But Tynus is about 8 and 9 seconds clear of Luca, so that goes to show where they are in terms of the guys who have already pitted. Tynus has clearly got the ascendancy over Luca at this point, despite having a considerably longer pit stop than Luca had. But what sort of pit stop is Jazzman going to do? What sort of strategy is he on? That's the biggest question that I'm pondering at this point.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
So halfway point here in this race for the tier 1s, round 2 of 8 here for season 3 here on the PlayStation 5 on the GT3 championship at Motive, and it's currently still Jazzman out in front doing the business. Counterpillar there in 2nd place. He's 10 seconds clear of MVGT, with Max Power 4 from Arlampa 5th. Matev P6 still yet to pit. Top 6 still yet to pit. Tynus, the highest runner of those who have pitted. He will probably be in 2nd. Maybe even the lead if he plays his cards right over the course of the next few laps. Depends what sort of lap times he's doing at this stage. As Jazzman is into the pits here at the end of lap 21, so he's making his pit stop just after the halfway mark here. Caterpillar, MVGT, Max Power, Arlampa and Amatev. Are these guys going to come in at the end of this lap? Tom and Johnny also need to still come in at some point. But let's wait and see what Jazzman does. Is he going to have a long stop in the box and refuel and put tyres on, or did he full tank it at the start? Here we go, Jazzman about to stop in his box. Moment of truth here. Is he on the same strategy as Tynus in the house? I can't imagine he wouldn't be. So it looks like the two Bentley boys have half tanked it here tonight and have gone for a all out for this victory, the both of them. But which one is going to get it? Jazzman's still in the box. He's been there now for about 20 seconds. Yeah, that's about a 30-second pit stop so far from Jazzman's. He's now off the jacks and away. So where is Tynus? Tynus is coming out of the final chicane now. Jazzman is just out of the pits, so Jazzman's coming around turn 1. Tynus is coming into turn 1, so Jazzman is coming out of the pit lane now into turn 2. Comes Jazzman, and he maintains the lead of the race, and Tynus is further behind than he was before they came in. So Jazzman has played an absolute corker here to Tynus's early pit stop strategy of trying to get the undercut. Jazzman coming out of turn 4. There is Tynus, who's just coming through turn 4 now. The gap between them around 5 seconds on the track. Tynus is also going to negotiate this car of Caterpillar, who's just in front of him as well. So 5.5 seconds the gap here between Jazzman and Tynus in the house. Jazzman looks to have done enough here in this one so far to take the victory, and it will be his second win of the season in 2 races if he's able to continue what he's doing right now. Tynus having a look to the inside here into the second chicane it is, yeah. But can't make the move there on Caterpillar at the moment. But Jazzman currently looking very, very good for to make it 2 from 2 so far this season tonight. We saw Matev come into the pits at the end of that previous lap as well, so he's now done his pit stop. MVGT, Max Power, Arlampa all continuing, so I wonder if those 3 have maybe full tanked it. Could we be seeing those 2 maybe coming back at the rest of them? Obviously we're kind of disregarding them at this point, but if they do a stop and go, if MVGT has got a stop and go plan for his pit stop, then he could be a contender in this battle for a podium place for sure. It all just depends on exactly how he's played it. But yeah, I imagine that MVGT and Max Power and Arlampa, the distance that they've gone now, I can't imagine that they're half tanking it, because if they have, they'd be gaining not much from doing so. So one would imagine that they have definitely full tanked their cars. Johnny's into the pits here at the end of lap 23. Sorry, 22 for him even. Tom still going at the moment, so he's continuing to play it out for a little bit. Tynus has now got ahead of Caterpillar up into 5th, but he's lost time to Jazzman. The gap now nearly 7 seconds between the net first and second, Jazzman and Tynus. MVGC's just got a bit of traffic here in the shape of Scuderia Paul, who moves off to the side and lets him through. And MVGT able to continue on his way. 25 minutes left to go here in this Tier 1 race, round 2 of the season here at Zolder. And at the moment, Jazzman looking to be the favourite for this race win. Arlampa into the pits here at the end of lap 23. So that now just leaves MVGT, Max Power and Tom Quarantine to make their stops at some point between now and the end of the race. the gap between Jazzman and Tynus is just over 7 seconds at the moment. MVGT's got about 8.5 seconds to max power. I'm keeping an eye on the gap also between MVGT and Jazzman, because that is coming down quite quickly here. So I think MVGT's hopes of maybe coming out ahead of Jazzman have kind of been dashed. I mean, he'd struggled to keep him behind even if he did manage to get ahead of him. But I think now Jazzman is in a position where he'll come out comfortably ahead of MVGT once MVGT comes in. MVGT's battle could maybe be to stay in the top 5 here, because Counterpillar's not too far behind Tynus. Although saying that, I think Counterpillar might actually be on the same strategy as MVGT in terms of, I don't think he's on fresh tyres, so he probably won't be able to reel in MVGT too much. Max power, obviously similar story there, still needs to come in. I think he's full tanked it as well. It's looking very much like the half tank strategy was the strategy to be on tonight, and that's obviously why we've seen the two main protagonists here doing the same thing. Obviously with their half tank strategies, not something we see from Jazzman too often. Usually he does full tank it and he makes the tyres work, but obviously he knew that tonight would be a track where it's quite difficult to do that. Zolder he's quite ruthless on the tyres, so he's obviously gone for the slightly more cautious approach, and it seems to have worked out quite well so far. Tom Quarantine is into the pits here at the end of his 25th lap of the race to make his mandatory pit stop. So now that just leaves MVGT and Max Power to come in and make their stops, and then that'll be everyone having come into the pits. Good evening all, says Raki. I just got home after an opera night. How is it going on track tonight? 19 viewers, nice. Yeah, it's been an interesting night. Right now things are just settling down a bit. We've got Max Power coming into the pits here at the end of lap 26 to make his mandatory pit stop. Obviously coming in quite late. MVGT still carrying on out there at the moment, but yeah, Max Power, I think he's going to come out around P6, I think, if I'm correct. I'm not sure about MVGT, but Max Power there into the pits nonetheless. It's been a decent showing from him so far tonight, I must say. He's kept his nose clean. He hasn't really got involved in too much. He's just kept a low profile. MVGT current race leader, but he needs to come in as well. So that now just leaves MVGT to make his mandatory pit stop before we get to the end of the race. Where's Max Power going to come out? In amongst all of this, I predicted it come out ahead of our Lamper. Our Lamper's just coming into turn 2 at the moment. So yeah, Max Power's come out just in between Luca and our Lamper. I think Luca's ahead of him, our Lamper just a little bit behind him there. So there's Max Power, there's our Lamper just coming through that same corner there. So Max Power in a comfortable P6 here in this race at the moment. whilst we're here, guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in over the course of both tiers tonight for the GT3 Championship. If you guys are interested in getting involved in the leagues here at Motive, then definitely go to www.motiveracing.com and join the Discord server through there. You can get involved in the ACC leagues. We're hoping to promote a couple of drivers from Tier 2 into Tier 1, so that will leave spaces in Tier 2 inevitably. So yeah, if you've got a PlayStation 5 and you've got ACC and you want to join, definitely come over to see what you're made of. We've also got leagues on Project Cars too. We run a Clio Cup on Monday nights and the Touring Cars on a Thursday night, and then we've also got an F1 league on Friday nights, which runs a sprint race, which is after a one-shot qualifying session. Sprint race which sets the grid for the main Grand Prix, which is a 50% distance race, obviously after the sprint race. And yeah, so we've got obviously that on a Friday night as well. And I'm looking to try and add maybe a GT4 and a Porsche Super Cup to our ACC roster. I'm going to be putting up a vote to see if people would be up for that. So I'm going to try and collect some numbers, collect some interest, see if maybe that's a possibility, because I'd love to add a GT4 and a Porsche Super Cup league if possible. I was thinking maybe Wednesday for GT4, potentially a Saturday night Porsche Super Cup. But yeah, definitely going to be looking to try and do that, because we've got, you know, between 45 and 50 people racing in a GT3s on Sunday night. So I reckon we could probably get at least 20 drivers in for a Porsche Super Cup and a GT4 on those nights, on Saturday and Wednesday nights. So yeah, guys, definitely if you're interested in that, then let us know, because I'd love to add a couple more ACC leagues. Obviously, with the GT3 leagues doing so well at the moment, it'd be silly to not do any more. Here we come then, MVGT into the pits here at the end of lap 31. So he becomes the final driver in this race to make his pit stop. Now where is he going to come out in relation to everybody else? So that's Jazzman now leading the race ahead of Tinus in the house. The gap nearly 12 seconds between Jazzman and Tyler, so it's gone up over the last few laps. But yeah, I can't see anybody stopping Jazzman at this point. Where's MVGT going to come out? It's going to be a simple stop and go there for him. Counterpillar's come through. Lucas just coming to the coming down the start finish straight now. So MVGT just coming out of the pits, and here he comes through turn 1. He goes. And into turn 2 comes MVGT, so MVGT comes out well ahead of there of Luca, who's just going into turn 2 now, as he's just putting a lap there on high grade. So MVGT there in 4th and Luca there in P5, so MVGT managing to stay ahead of Luca. Luca coming in for that very early pit stop hasn't really worked out the way that I'm sure he would have been hoping for it to. Lamper running in 7th place. He's currently 2.5 seconds behind Max Power at the moment, as they're coming down the straight towards the first chicane. I'm noticing it's come down quite a bit. Johnny has got low 3000 really in quite a bit. Oh, Johnny wide, I tell you what, he's really making a few mistakes here. And then they've got somebody else just in front of them here. I think he's one of the front runners. Yeah, MVGT's just in front of them. But Johnny here coming under pressure from low 3000. As we're here on lap 32 for these two. Johnny just getting a better run. They're coming out of turn 4, managing to pull away a bit from low 3000 through that part of the track. And for the time being, looking a little bit more comfortable there in that little battle. I'm keeping an eye on the battle between MVGT and Luca, but it looks like MVGT's pulled out a bit more to him, as that gap's now 5.5 seconds. Low 3000's close back up onto the rear of Johnny here, as they're coming through the final few corners of the lap here. It's almost back within striking distance here, 0.8 of a second now separating these two in this battle for P12. Between Max Power and Orlampa's 2.5 seconds, so that seems to be quite consistent. Orlampa maybe chipping away a little bit on Max Power at this point. Those two are currently running P6 and 7 at this stage. Always low 3000's got a run here on the outside of Johnny into towards the first chicane they come. Johnny's just about got the inside line covered as low 3000 cuts the inside of the corner there and goes straight on, loses time as a result, had to slow down a little bit I think to avoid spinning on the curbs, so that's given Johnny a little bit of respite there, as low 3000 was really close on him just before that. But Johnny's still maintaining P12 at the moment. Gap between Max Power and Arlamp is staying at around 2.5 seconds. Max Power was a 10th quicker through the first sector. Ludo is only 3 seconds behind Matev at the moment as well, so we'll keep an eye on that battle as it develops. As Arlampa was 2/10 quicker than Max Power through that middle sector, but low 3000, just it's ebbing and flowing here between Johnny and low 3000. Low 3000 seems to be very quick through the middle sector. Johnny seems to have the edge through the through the first sector for sure. But these two kind of cancelling each other out at the moment. Gap's just dipped under 3 seconds between Matev and Ludo at the moment. Max Power's got just under 2.5 seconds to our Lamper at this stage. Just Lol 3000 is moving aside there for one of the leaders. Which is Luca there, so Luca slotting in between this battle at the moment between Johnny and Lol 3000, but Johnny will have to also do the same in a moment, or at least if he wants to keep peace with the other drivers, he will, as Luca will be on his bumper in a few moments time. Blue flag's waving, just letting Johnny know that Luca, who's running in P5, is just behind him. And there we go, lets him through, so that will allow Lol 3000 back up onto the rear of Johnny here as we're coming out of the final chicane once again, about to start lap 30, that lap 36 for them. Or no, lap 35 actually for them, because Jazzman's on lap 37, so they're starting lap 36 now. No, sorry, they're starting lap 35. Jazzman's on lap 36, that's what I meant. But still 0.7 of a second currently separating these two at this point. Johnny's just gained a little bit through those first few corners. I said before, Johnny seems quicker through the first sector than Lol 3000, but Lol 3000 definitely has the pace through the chicanes in the middle. Gap just under a second as they come into the first chicane. Gap between Matev and Ludo staying quite consistent at the moment. It's just under 3 seconds. I'll tell you what, our Lamper though has gained quite a bit here on Max Power. That's 1.3 seconds now, the gap between those two. So Max Power's got to watch out if he wants to hold on to his 6th place here. Gap between MVGT and Lucas staying quite consistent. That's just over 5 seconds. It's been like that for quite a few laps. But Lol 3000, has he made a mistake? He must have made a mistake coming through the middle sector here, because that gap's now over 4 seconds. So Johnny looking to be pretty comfortable here in this 12th place. Lol 3000 didn't see what happened there, but he must have had a bit of a slip somewhere, and he's now well off at the back of Johnny, who's running in P12. So a shame there for Lol 3000. As we're watching a battle here for P6 and 7 now, Max Power is just over a second ahead of our Lamper. But our Lamper is closing and has been closing for the last few laps. The gap is now under a second, and it's well under a second as well. 7/10 now the gap between Max Power and our Lamper. The gap between Matev and Ludo just over 2 seconds as well. So that gap's coming down. We've got plenty of battles here in the closing stages of this race to watch out for. But Max Power is still holding on ahead of our Lamper for the time being. Jazzman continues to drive off into the distance here in this race. He's now 14 seconds clear of Tynus in the house, and looking set to make it a 2nd win from 2 races so far this season. Gap between Max Power and our Lamper has just been extended a little bit coming through the first sector. Max Power just a little bit quicker there through that part of the lap. Gap almost under 2 seconds now between Matev and Ludo, but has Ludo left his charge a little bit too late here on the back of Matev? Maybe it's just a day late and $1 short there for him. Oh, it's in the foreground. Matev was all over the grass, but Ludo did the same thing. But Ludo continuing to gain here. He's continuing to carve that gap down to Matev. You can see Matev is now in the same shot. That gap is no more than it's no more than 2 seconds for sure. It's 1.6 according to the timing screen. As they're coming down towards the final chicane once again, the gap between Max Power and our Lamper has just extended a little bit. Max Power's responded to that pressure from our Lamper, as the gap is now 1.2, so it was 7/10 this time a lap ago. Max Power half a second quicker than our Lamper on that last lap. Starting to up the pace ever so slightly here is Max Power, with seeing that our Lamper's looming large in his mirrors. It's kind of kicked him into gear a little bit here. Ludo here is still on the back of Matev as these two still 1.3 apart. So Ludo gained another 3/10 through the final sector there, and it's almost within a stone's throw of Matev right now. Lamper back within 7/10 of a second of Max Power, so it's really jumping backwards and forwards here between these two. Max Power coming under increasing pressure from the Ferrari as we're probably into the last, I'd say probably the last 3 laps of the race. Depends when Jazzman crosses the line. So I reckon Jazzman has got a lap and a half left to go. I reckon he's only got a lap and a half left in this race, so that means that these guys will be starting their penultimate lap in a moment. So they've got 2 and a bit laps left in this race. Can our Lamper get on Max Power? Can Ludo get on Matev? Ludo is right on the back of Matev now as they're coming through the penultimate corner. Max Power and our Lamper there battling over 6th and 7th. Matev and Ludo battling over 8th and 9th places. Who do we watch at this point? It's Max Power just almost defending there down the start finish straight, trying to weave a little bit, trying to break the toe there to our Lamper. Matev and Ludo down the start finish straight, starting their 38th laps of this race. And this is going to go down to the wire between both of these 2 pairs.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap.
Jazzman on the final lap. We just seen confirmation there from race control. So this is going to be a lap and a half left for these guys here as we're watching Max Power and our Lamper coming around to lap some traffic here. So they've got to be careful. And this could present a gold opportunity for our Lamper to get this job done. In the background, Matev and Ludo still locking horns here as they're coming into the second chicane. Matev still holding on at the moment. Here come Max Power and our Lamper on this traffic. It's Scuderia Paul and Highgrade who are right in front of them. And I tell you what, these guys are not going to be giving up in their battle for 16th and 17th places. Max Power still holding on here ahead of our Lamper, just about. As we start the final lap, Max Power just getting a better run out of the last corner there, extending his gap ever so slightly to our Lamper. Matev and Ludo still running 8th and 9th, still no change. Matev's just extended his gap to Ludo as well. Where is our race leader Jazzman? He is just coming through the penultimate corner. By the looks of it, in fact, he's through the penultimate corner. He's coming up towards the final chicane. What a job for tonight from Jazzman. Obviously took the first win last week at Monza with a splendid performance. It's a dominant performance this time out at Zolder. He wins it by nearly 15 seconds in the end. Jazzman, our 4-time champion here at Motive, taking 2 from 2 here for season 3 on the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship. A well-deserved victory for him. In the end, well clear of Tynus in the house, his old rival, who takes 2nd place. Tynus not going to be too happy after that one, I'm sure. 14 seconds the winning margin there for Jazzman. Very clearly the number 1 today. Caterpillar coming into the final chicane is going to take home 3rd place by the looks of it. The gap is only a 1/10 of a second between Max Power and our Lamper. As we go back to those 2, you can see our Lamper almost underneath him here as they're coming through the middle sector. Oh, our Lamper onto the grass, and that would have put bait to his chances there of taking the position, I'm sure. Caterpillar has taken 3rd. He takes the final spot on the podium, sorry. MVGT is going to come up towards the line to take 4th place. He comes over. He's a little way clear of Luca, who will take 5th in the end. So Luca over to complete the top 5. Max Power into the final chicane. I think he's done enough here to hold on. Our Lamper is coming under pressure now from one of the back markers, but Max Power up towards the line is going to take 6th place ahead of our Lamper, who comes over to take 7th in the end. Tom Quarantine, Mary Louise, Johnny and Log 3000 have all finished the race a lap down. Matev comes over to take 8th place. Scuderia, Paul, Highgrade and Brando all 2 laps down. Ludo comes over to take 9th. Tom Quarantine over in P10 there, he's already, obviously we already said him. Epiphany to finish in 14th place, a lap down, and Spuzz 2 laps down in P15 in the end. no, sorry, a lap down, not 2 laps down. P15. Scooter Paul, High Grade Brando, R Parker and Carmissar didn't actually get to the end. They retired quite early on in the race. So we have 18 finishers from 20 starters. We're going to have Titan Guto in the mix next week for this Tier 1 league. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in the mix. But guys, thanks ever so much for joining us tonight. Thanks for being a part of the stream, and thanks to all the drivers who took part tonight. We had 43 people turn up tonight across both tiers. Not quite the 51 that we had last time out, but I think this week just a bad week in terms of turnout. Everybody just seems to be doing something. Hopefully we'll have 50 again next week. I've got a few new sign-ups as well for the Tier 2s, so I'll be promoting a few drivers from Tier 1. I'll be DMing a couple of people from Tier 2, seeing if they want to get promotion up into Tier 1. We'll get those spots filled, and we'll hopefully have near enough full grids for both leagues. But from me, it's a very big thank you, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you join us at the same time as always. We'll be live at the usual time of 7 p.m. UK time for the ACC GT3s here on a Sunday. We'll be live next week at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. So that's one of the new tracks here on this ACC game. So definitely tune in for that one. We'll be live at the same time, 7 p.m. UK time, as I said. Thanks everybody. We will see you soon. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, what's left of it. And yeah, good night.